What's going on? What's going on? What's going on, Conscious Crew? It is your favorite breakdown commentator, Consciouztv. Welcome to another riveting episode, girl. I told y'all to have them goddamn notification bells set to all, because you just never know when a kid gets a bit of inspiration, honey. Now, of course, I had to come to you guys and have a further conversation about this legendary ass interview that me and Storm Monroe conducted. It was really more of a dialogue. It was really freaking epic, honey. Okay, we pressed the gas and then some, honey. So I'm not surprised that the feedback is so diverse and it's so interesting. Okay, everything ranging from people saying that me and Storm have great chemistry, we do really well together, to this Mr. Nasty segment on the interview last night where we deep dived into Storm Monroe's sextivities, honey, and that created a lot of interesting feedback in the comment sections and things. And so I wanted to take an element of what transpired last night and things that were going on in the live stream and have a further conversation with you guys, particularly around Storm Monroe's sexuality, because I think that there's a lot to unpack there. And I wish that me and Storm would have been able to get more into that, but we had so much ground to cover, and I was already harping over the subjects we were already on because we were unpacking a lot. But I may have to bring him back for some more stuff. Okay, so we're going to be getting into the sexuality aspect of Storm Monroe's presence and posture on social media. I do have one of my straight friends here with me. He'll be joining me. You guys already know who Henry is. Matter of fact, let me let him up real quick. What's going on, Spirit?
Hey, what's up, guys? How you doing?
Hi, I'm so happy you can be back. You know, the girls always frolic over you. You make their cooties wet. You know, they think you're so hot and so sexy. And as a gay man, I must say all of that is true myself.
Well, good. I'm glad to hear it. I'm
okay, your sex appeal is the only reason why I keep letting you tattoo me.
I appreciate it, man. Well, we got a lot more work to do. We still got your chest to do. We still got the all of that.
Yes, unfortunately, but I got my numbing cream ready. So Henry is going to help me have this conversation because I really wanted to have at least a straight male perspective about the subject of Black men's like sexuality and femininity. Also, let me go ahead and hey, Miss Tucker, how are you? If you can hear me, boo, I think you have me on mute.
Hello.
Hey, love, how are you?
Hi, I'm all right. How are you?
I am wonderful. I just wanted to greet you really quick. I'm still doing my intro, but I just wanted to let you know that I do see you in the back chat. So once I run my intro and everything, I'm going to bring you back up and let you chime in on this topic as well and give your 2 cents. Okay. So we're going to be having Henry here to help with the discussion, honey, and we're going to get into it, honey. And I gotta get some other shit out the way too. Okay, y'all already hitting the link, so. Hi, Pop Culture. Are you there?
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Welcome to the platform.
Thank you.
I wanted to let you know that I do see you in the back chat, so I'm going to run my intro and stuff, and then I'm going to bring you guys back up and get you guys to chime in on the subject today.
Pop Culture in the building.
Yes, Pop Culture in the motherfucking building. Pop Culture Guru, if you're nasty.
Yes.
All right, so I'm gonna let you down, but then I'm gonna bring you back up. So just stay right there. Okay. So the link is in the stream, you guys. Mods, y'all can rotate the StreamYard link routinely in case folk want to hit the link, since everybody has so much to say. So we can just make this an all open panel, girl. Straight men, straight women, Black women, gay men. It don't matter, honey. Like, we can get into the things of the things of the things. So give me a whole nasty piece of thumbs up on this video, honey. This helps with the algorithm and all of that good jazz. Y'all already know to subscribe. If you haven't checked out the interview, check it out, honey. Okay, it was everything and then some. Shout out to Storm Monroe for blessing the platform. I'm so excited for everything that he's doing. Make sure that you get into his his mentorship program for up and coming YouTubers who want to make money and who want to understand the ins and the outs of YouTube's craziness and how to navigate it successfully. the money is really a steal. The program is a steal. You don't want to miss this. I'm going to be hopping my ass in this program myself because I'm just a stickler for knowledge. So I'm going to run an old nasty piece of intro, honey, while y'all just roll on in. Once again, the StreamYard link is in the stream, so you guys can hit it if you want to chime in, and we will be back to get into this discussion. Okay.
I know a place where you can recharge your soul.
Baby, that's Consciouztv.
And in the midst of brokenness, he gon' see your asshole.
Baby, that's Consciouztv.
You gon' heal, you gon' laugh and catch a little shade.
Ooh, girl.
Y'all know he be slaying, y'all better stop playing. Come hear what he's saying.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Okay, so we're back. So let's get straight into it. I don't want to. Huh?
That tattoo on your chest, it looks so amazing. Like every time you show it on your.
It's a masterpiece. Period.
It's so dope,
man. Masterpiece.
Yeah.
You don't understand how much that tattoo made me feel like an even badder bitch in the world. Like it took my bad bitch equity to like whole new heights.
Yeah.
Nobody can tell me nothing now because of that chest plate tattoo.
Mm-hmm.
It's everything and then some. Yes, but let's get into the things of the tea theory, okay? So first of all, let's have some raw. We're gonna have some raw dialogue. I'm not gonna hold back on what the fuck I feel. And anybody who in their feelings, hit the motherfucking link. You don't have to be disgruntled from the StreamYard chat. You can come up here and voice your opinion. Let me just set a matter of fact, let me bring in my other guests first. Let me just bring them back so I can just have them join in. Let me say this before we get started. So this platform is called Consciouztv. Okay. So what that means is that first and foremost, the things I decide to talk about and the people I decide to bring on are of my personal interest. First and foremost, I became a content creator because I had things I wanted to provide content about. What that also then means is that the conversations or even the guest might not necessarily appeal to everyone, but that's okay because it's first and foremost about me. This is my platform. I do what interests me. I talk to who interests me. Okay. I'm also open to receiving suggestions if you guys want certain conversations from certain people, etc. But please realize I don't consult any audience about what I'm deciding to do for my next discussion, or I'm not consulting an audience about what I'm bringing to the platform because that's my role as the content creator. Okay. When I spoke to Storm and decided that I wanted to have a conversation with Storm Monroe, it was first and foremost because his mentorship program really appealed to me. I think that it's a great idea and it just really turned me up because I feel like it's not enough guidance and mentorship in the world. But then when I really thought about Storm Monroe and his controversy, I was like, there's a lot of things about his name that could really make for a deeper discussion. One of those things has been about his sexuality. Now, I am somebody who has not given commentary on Storm Monroe's sexuality. I never joined that bandwagon. I never used my platform to pressure Storm Monroe to come out of the motherfucking closet because for me, personally, I believe Storm Monroe is straight. Now, some people may say, why is this a conversation? Well, that's my question. Why is it a conversation? Where does the obsession over Storm Monroe's orientation come from, whether he's gay or straight? Because if you pay attention even to the conversation we were having last night, we got into a freak level conversation. Okay, I wanted to just get all up in his business about what he likes and how he likes it. The chat, on the other hand, was completely focused on whether he wants all of that pornographic goings on with a woman or a man. I don't give a damn. See, me personally, I was raised around straight men like Storm Monroe. Not every black man that I came into contact with in my life was some thuggish, hard knot life, big baggy clothes, deep voice, gun toting ass, gorilla juice head. That was not my experience. Growing up in the church, I've seen all type of variations of black men. Matter of fact, I don't think that a lot of Christian men are that masculine, to be honest. A lot of the usher boys, a lot of the male choir members, a lot of heterosexual identifying men in a lot of these spaces did not necessarily come off as explicitly masculine to me. My male teachers growing up I didn't always feel like conservative black men, working corporate space black men. Men are no more of a monolith than women are. What I find interesting is that we allow black women to have complete autonomy and creativity over their hair, over their aesthetic. They can be tom girls, they can be masculine, they can be athletes, they can do whatever the fuck they want to do, shave their head, wear weave. They can do it all, baby, while still get away with being heterosexual, while black men literally get lumped and clumped and reduced and restricted and imprisoned to this one particular stereotype. And I think that that's very dangerous and toxic. And I don't think that we're being helpful to black men's own autonomy over themselves. Now, that's just my motherfucking opinion. So, for those of you who have other opinions, I want you guys to come up here, hit the motherfucking link, and let's get into some things. Now, Henry, I brought you up here because you are a heterosexual male, and you also have a very unique attitude about femininity and masculinity and black men, even as a heterosexual male yourself. And because you're going to be a more permanent conversation piece with me, I'm gonna let my other two guests go first, and then I want to get your perspective on this topic.
Cool.
Okay, Miss Trucker, what are your thoughts? What brings you here today? Can you hear me, Boo? Miss Trucker? Miss Trucker might be away from the phone.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Boo.
Okay, can you do me a favor? Because I'm getting ready to pull up at a truck stop in like maybe 5 minutes. Can you come back to me?
Yes, I can come back to you. That's fine.
All right, thank you.
Pop culture guru, what brings you to the discussion today, Boo?
Hi. So, the topic of storm sexuality has always been, a subject of conversation, particularly within, the commentary sector of YouTube. I think because, so like gossiping, sitting around talking about, Cardi B and Nicki Minaj and just, those type of topics is typically seen as women's conversations, and gay men. Like you don't typically see like a lot of straight men, talk about those people. And if they do, it's usually typically like, oh, Nikki's beautiful or Cardi's beautiful. It's not like she's a bad, it's more of a lusting after. It's not like a typical gay, like male, fangirl, if you get what I mean. So I think that like for Storm, for him to be so, secure in his masculinity, which I think is, it's great. But I just feel like he just, for me, as a gay man, as a feminine gay man myself, like, I just feel like, not saying that he can't be straight, like, he could absolutely be straight. There are plenty of metrosexual, men. And I agree with you, Conscious, about, like, not keeping black men in, like, a binary. You can only be super masculine or super feminine. But, I mean, the lingo, the verbiage, the way that he acts is just very, very gay. And I think there's nothing wrong with that. Like, I don't think that there's anything wrong with being, like, a gay content creator who makes, like, commentary on popular culture and just women and all those type of things. I just feel like he may not, like, want that stigma that comes with being, associated with, these topics, that kind of career. And so, like, he may not be, like, explicitly gay, but I think he does the thing where he kind of is ambiguous, where he doesn't necessarily talk about women, but he I mean, but he doesn't necessarily talk about men. It's either like he doesn't want it to like he doesn't. It's not like here I'm gay, I'm out, and you're gonna take it or leave it. You know, he's very like incognito, and I think a lot of us are just like, girl, we know you're a part of the community. Even when he talks about gay people or the LGBT girls, it's very us and them, and for me, it's giving we. You know, but that's just my opinion. If he is straight, that's fine. I just feel like you don't typically like see a lot of straight men in this sector of YouTube. Not saying they're not, because it's like Charlemagne and whose sexuality, of course, is always in question, is of course. But for the most part, there's like Charlemagne, Joe Budden. There are black men who speak on like popular topics. Like it's not like it's impossible, but you just don't see them in the same way that you see like Storm Monroe. Like he's just very like sassy and very like just stereotypically gay, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think maybe for him, like maybe he might think there's something wrong with being feminine or sassy and not stereotypically masculine. But those are like a couple of my thoughts.
Well, let me ask you this question, because you are right. I was going to make that point. I was thinking of those points when you were speaking earlier. Like we have the Charlemagne the Gods, the DJ Envies. We have like the Joe Buttons, the DJ Academics. There's a lot of straight men in these gossip blogging realms as well. But because I guess they do it in a masculine way, their sexuality doesn't come up. But I was going to ask you, do you feel like femininity is synonymous with sexuality? Because I feel like just like a woman can have masculine traits and not be gay, a straight man can have effeminate attributes and also not be queer.
Yeah, but I think we still haven't. I think maybe in like white society, yes, but in black society, we haven't really gotten to that point yet where like black men can be metro, can not be like it's still that binary. Like you need to be masculine or feminine, and in our society, if you're masculine, you're straight, and if you're feminine, you're gay. I mean, it's sad, but like unfortunately, even the gay girls do it, the straight girls do it. It's just like we have the black male is very just tight and wound, and yes, like Joe Budden, all of them, they do like commentary, but there's a line they don't cross. They don't talk the way that we talk, like yes bit and all that other extra
Charlemagne
stuff
be dragging.
He do be dragging, but it's still like a straight a very straight male like identified like type of commentary, and it's just not the way that like you would see like I don't know, like Armand Wiggins. Like you would never like that would never be okay up there, because the straight girls would drag him because he's an openly gay man, and that's fine. But I just feel like for Storm, like he just is very like he's just a stereotypical like gay guy. Like when I first saw it, I was like, oh great, another black gay like content creator, and then he was very like, I'm not gay. Well, and it was like, oh okay, and it was like, he likes to say like, oh, that like them or the LGBT community, and I'm like, what? Like I thought you were a part, and that's no shade. But I just don't feel like we've gotten to that point yet where like a straight black man can just be all into like the femininity. And it's not even like, because I believe that like, for instance, like cleaning and getting your nails done, stuff like that is not feminine to me. That's just being a human being. I think that what Storm does for me is hyper femininity. Like there's more of like stuff that is exclusively for women or gay men. Like he has a lot of just like the attitude, the inflections that like a lot of gay men have. Even like on his channel, like he reads like a gay man, like straight men read, but they're not reading like that. Like,
but my whole thing is like, even if that be the case, that still doesn't mean he's gay. Even if he acts gay, even if he dresses gay, even if he reads like a gay man, even if he can bust a split like a gay man, even if he can twerk better than a woman, that those things in and of themselves still wouldn't make him inherently gay in terms of his actual.
There's like two types of gay. There's
but they
gay,
do say if it quacks like
and
a
then
duck and it looks like a duck, then
and that's where here's the challenge is
Yeah.
Because we're living in a society now where everything that looks like a duck and quacks like a duck isn't necessarily a damn duck.
Right.
But I understand why it's easy to make the assumption at just what's presented. But if we want to push it further and be a bit more like emotionally intelligent and rational, we still have to know that despite like that orientation in and of itself comes down to what a person actually desires, because we have a lot of same gender loving men who present as very heterosexual. It wouldn't appear that they're queer on the surface. They fit in with all the straight men. They on the football team, they on the basketball team, like men that are passable, if that's a
Yeah, they're
thing.
more
Like,
masculine. So
like
straight passing. Yeah.
yeah, like very straight passing gay
But
black
the thing is,
men. So
Monroe don't straight pass.
but the point of me saying that is that just like we wouldn't be able to say to that straight passing gay man that he's not gay because he has a lot of very strong, explicit masculine qualities, I think we have to afford the same benefit of a doubt to straight men who may have a abundance of effeminate traits and still say, well, that still doesn't make him gay, just like it doesn't make a masculine gay man straight. It doesn't make a feminine straight man gay. Like
Yes,
it has,
but I will say
like
it does
every
make
argument
does
has
make
to
it
work
easy.
both ways.
Well, it does, but it does make it easier. So, for instance, like there are a lot of masculine gay men who exist in the world, like trade and all that. But like, of course, we wouldn't call them not gay because they're still sleeping with men. But we would definitely say like your existence as a gay man is very different than someone like a feminine gay man who is out and proud and visibly gay. So like, yes, we're all gay. But, just like, there are people who are black, but, they may pass for, not, for white or non-black. And yes, you're black, but, there's just a little privilege there. And I just feel like if Storm Monroe was going to that, like, person, you would think he'd be more, like, traditionally masculine. Not that he has to be, but it's like he's doing all these things that are not traditionally masculine and then kind of wondering why people are like, are you gay? Like, I just feel like we have to live in a real world. Like, I can't, when I wake up, I'm very feminine. I get my nails, like, done. I have long hair. I wear purses. I wear boots. Like, I can't really walk into society and then be mad when people are like, are you gay? Because it's like, that's what I'm giving, But I honestly, I think the issue is, like, being gay is something bad. Like, that's why I'm like, or people think being gay means you're inferior or you're something less than. And I think that's what gets a lot of the girls like upset, where it's like, how dare you associate me with something that society says is bad when there's nothing wrong with being gay. That's who you are. Just be like, say yes. But yeah, those are my little like.
Okay, so I want to and you can stick around if you want to hang around because I want to
Okay.
get to Miss Trucker, then I want to get to Henry as well, and to your point, see, the reason why personally this topic is interesting, like it appeals to me because when I'm a very comfortable, confident, queer black man. I make no apologies for who I am, and I make the world deal with every bit of it, every inch of my bundle,
Right.
every arch of my eyebrow, every rouge on my cheeks. I make the motherfucking world deal with it. I don't give a damn. It's my cross, and it's gonna be what it's gonna be. But growing up, when my androgyny started to develop, I got a lot of pressure from the gay community because they felt like, well, damn, girl, you weaving it up, you doing all this, you might as well just transition. And I'm like, bitch, I don't want to transition. I want to be a man and weave. I don't want to be a trans woman. I don't want to have titties and a puss. I enjoy, there are things that I enjoy about the female principle that I want to incorporate into my masculinity. And there just kept being this feedback for a long time when I was growing up that I had to make a choice. I had to either like boy it and butch it up as a gay man, or if I was going to be very like gender bending in my aesthetics and my style of dress that I either had to then fully convert, and people literally like expected that, and I'm just like, where do you get off on like it's not a black and white thing. Like we keep making it, we keep making a binary this strong polarity, but we don't realize even aside from sexuality, masculine femininity exists on a spectrum as well, that everybody has their proportions of masculinity and femininity. I remember Eve, the rapper Eve. She was a Rough Rider initially when she came on the scene. She tomboyed it up. You know, she was really butchy in her femininity. You know, she was riding the go karts and the motorcycles, and then Eve evolved into more of a traditional aesthetic regarding femininity. The same thing with Debrat. She's butched it up and also incorporated femininity as well. She always wore her makeup, her lipstick, but she kept her hair braided. She wore her baggy clothes. Like, and I've been able to see women navigate these spaces without a lot of controversy as it relates to their orientation. But the minute that straight men want to just be, because it actually becomes organic for all of us to have femininity, and like, so here's the thing, like, here's where it gets kind of deep for me. Every soul, irregardless of whether you are a male or a female, it took two sexes to conceive all of us. It took a male and a female principle. We're literally all born in and birthed from this divine masculinity that comes from our father and this divine femininity that comes from our mothers, and yet we still entertain a society that says if you are a boy, you can only be masculine, and if you are a girl, you can only be feminine. And once again, aside from just sexuality, because I think that these are distinct things. I don't think that these things are synonymous with one another. And I'm like, so how do you expect me to also be a product of my mother biologically, a product of my mother in terms of her leadership, her role in my life, and not have attributes of the divine feminine? And how do you expect me to also be a product of my father biologically and a product of his influence in my life and not also have masculine features, when literally both polarities came and created all people, whether you're male or female? So there's no way of getting around the fact that every man has his degree of femininity. Now, in what way he wants to express that, whether he want to go to the extreme and be Prince with it and be in 7-inch heels and cross dress and do all of those things, or whether he has feminine attributes like sensitivity and vulnerabilities and compassion and empathy. He's, you know, slow to anger, not as violent, not as yielding to violence, or whether it's a woman playing up her masculinity and she want to go to the extreme of being a Rough Rider Eve, or whether she want to have masculine traits like being able to be a CEO, being able to take her feelings out of shit, being able to be more mental and strategic in her business practices or in her life practices, and etc. Like, all of that be the case, and we still, as Black people specifically, because I know why we do this, but we specifically still get into this very like cage. And I honestly feel bad for Black men, because as a gay man, I get so much joy being able to be my motherfucking self. And I don't like thinking of Black men, Black straight men, having to live and try to assimilate to this toxic shit and really be under this impression that these social constructs are real, and they're not. They're just ideas. Like, your idea of masculinity is an idea. That shit is not real. Like, if you want to twirl as a straight Black man, motherfucking twirl. Like, if that comes more natural to you on the dance floor than doing the butterfly, fucking twirl. Like, if flipping your hair feels more organic to you as a straight man than brushing your waves, like, grow your motherfucking hair and get your eternal everlasting hair flipping motherfucking life. Like, do fucking you, because the things that make us not be ourselves are not even things that have any true substance in them anyway. These are just social programs running really strong. But I want to go to this Trucker, hey, I know that you were ready. You at your truck stop. What do you have to say?
All right. So I was calling in to say a few things.
Mm-hmm.
Storm is not gay. Okay. It's like people are forgetting metrosexuals do exist, you know. And honestly, if Storm was older, because I'm 35, going on 36 in a couple of months, I actually would have jumped up in his DM. But Storm is in his 20s. So, I'm not going to deal with that. But if he was older, I would have jumped up in his DM trying to talk to him. I can tell, and I don't know why a lot of people can't tell that, he just used to being around a different type of group. And that group, to me, is not our skin color. So, of course, he's going to act different and stuff like that. Of course, he can't dress, but, a woman can easily switch, change the way he dressed, show him how to
Add
dress.
some sauce on that spaghetti, honey. Add some drip on that umbrella. Yes, God.
Exactly. And then even when he danced, you can tell that he's not used to growing up. He wasn't used to being around black people because he got no rhythm. So, but and I was actually listening. I came in on an interview a little late, and the comments actually pissed me off. So I actually didn't get a chance to finish listening to the interview because there was so many people saying, is he gay, is he gay, is he gay? But yet, I'm sure, I'm not going to say everybody, but I'm sure they probably got Tyrone that then left jail about 5 or 6 times, getting on his knees and stuff. But they praise him. But yet, just because Storm never been up in jail or don't talk a certain way or, act a certain way, they thinking he's gay. Meanwhile, they husbands or boyfriends are dropping down on their knees around for their boyfriends. But
talk about it. Talk about it.
So,
Father. So okay. So let me back up a little bit. So you. Okay, hold that thought real quick, Miss Tucker. Photo DNA.
It's Tucker. I know you keep calling me Tucker. It's
Tucker. I'm sorry. A photon DNA. Are you there?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are y'all?
We are wonderful. I just wanted to introduce you real quick. I'm gonna let Miss Trucker go. Then I'm gonna let my nigga Henry go, and then I'm gonna let you chime in as well. And Miss Oz.
I mean, that's all I had to say, actually. I think that we, as women, that's also, we lose a lot of black women are losing out on good men like Storm because they judging him just because he's not sagging and stuff like that. So I think that we as a whole community need to stop judging people when you don't even know. Nobody have came up with evidence that this man has been with a man.
Right.
Or transitioning person or anything. No evidence have came out. So why are y'all steady putting this stigma on this man back? And then it get to that point to where, but the moment, here go the crazy thing to me. The moment that, because he want to be with a black woman, he already said that, but nobody is interested in him up in his eye. The moment that he go to another race and start treating that race real good, what these same black women gonna be doing? Oh, he's a traitor. Oh, we not good enough for you? But the man clearly is stating that he want a black woman, and y'all can't even accept him as who he is. But
I want to speak to that point really quick, Miss Trucker, and then I have a question for you as well. It's interesting because I have black male friends who date interracially. They date white women, and it's ironic that every time I've asked them, like, why is their preference more geared toward white women than it is toward black women? All of them unanimously, it's almost like universal in their response at some point, that it's because they feel like they can be more themselves with white women than they can be with black women. And there may be some truth to that because of a lot of the hyper masculine expectations that the black community as a whole place on black men, that restricts a lot of black men who cannot fit within that space. They have hobbies and interests that are considered whitewashed or that are considered lame or that are just different from the cultural expectations that we have of black men. And some of those black men find that it's easier to be themselves and still be seen as men and still garner the attraction of women from the white community versus the black community. And because I exist in this community as well, I do see the way that we treat certain types of black men, especially those black men who don't fit within traditional cultural expectations that make us say, okay, this is black. That ain't black. This is black. Like the psychology that comes from does isolate a lot of black people in general, but since this is a conversation about black men, definitely black men. I want to get your thoughts so far as well, Henry. Oh, hold on. Before I get to you, Henry, I wanted to ask you, Miss Trucker, do you, like, as a woman, are you a black woman for one?
Yes, I'm black woman. Yes, that's the question.
Okay. Do feminine traits on a man turn you off at all? Like, if you made a great man, you were physically attracted to him. If he had a switch in his wrist or some type of attribute that you would consider to be feminine, would that be a deal breaker for you?
Okay, actually, I have a story. So when I was in my earlier 20s, I met someone just like Storm. Great guy, everything. But people always be like, "Oh, he gay, he gay, he gay." So I was listening to him, and I just broke up with him without knowing anything. So later on throughout life, I started noticing a lot of people like, the guy I was talking to who was somewhat like Storm. And I'm like, dang, okay, that don't mean that he gay, or whatever. So actually 2 years ago, that same guy actually ended up popping up in my DM. And we actually been together since. We actually engaged now. So
Wow.
Hey, look at that.
Hey. Push
brought out
through. Wow.
so
Mm-hmm.
I haven't had any issues or anything like that. Don't disrespect me. No, he is not DL, just in case the people putting in the comments might say some crap like that. I
Mm-hmm.
just opened up what I was used to.
Mm-hmm.
So no,
Wow.
it's not a turn off to me. It's not.
Okay, I'm living for that. Okay, I want to get my homeboy Henry in here real quick because he does have to go. So I want to let him chime in and give his thoughts so far because he got to go pick up his daughter. But what are you hearing so far, Henry? What do you feel about what's being discussed?
I mean, these are conversations that need to be had. You know what I'm saying? Give me just a second. I'm pouring some water.
Okay, and can you speak a little closer to the phone as well?
Yeah. Is this better?
No, I can hear you, but if it's a way for you to speak, to put your mouth all the way.
Okay, all right, hold on one second. Let me
situation.
Let me
Because as a straight, because you yes, that's way better. Because as a straight man, like, what do you feel about your own relationship to your masculine, feminine forces and energies?
It's hard to kind of answer that question because I feel as though I used to, when I was younger, I used to be a lot more in tune with what is considered feminine.
Mm-hmm.
As far as output is concerned. But now as that I'm older, I kind of lean more towards an output that is very masculine presenting. But a part of me does reminisce about a time where, you know what I'm saying, I used to paint my fingernails and, I used to wear my hair in a certain way that would be considered feminine, but it was cool because girls like that type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like if you're a man and you're masculine, but you got this one little thing that you do that you maybe wear, it might be considered, feminine. Yeah, girls like that kind of stuff because, it's women like to feel secure, and if you are secure in and of yourself, then they're gonna follow suit. And of course, go ahead.
Because you and I were just speaking on the phone before I before we did this live, and I was saying that I think the reason why a lot of women can't appreciate men who are themselves is because I think that that's what true masculinity is. True masculinity is the ability to not give a fuck. Like, it's the I don't give a fuck factor. And I think that turns a lot of people on. I think that even men will bow down. Like, I've even had straight men be like, I gotta respect you because you hold your fucking own. Like, you don't allow there to be any room for anything else but to either like it or to hate it. And I think in general, like, when you're able to get to a point where you know who you are, you don't have to be performative. You just are what you are. Whatever that you is, as long as you said, there's security and you know it, that shit will translate and people will be able to put respect on whatever you're able to be fully confident in yourself. Because I was telling my people last night that I have a lot of women who throw their draws at me every fucking day, and I'm a openly gay man, and straight women be here for the shit. They know that I curl my weave just like them. They know I put a flat iron to the shit just like them. They know that I'm gonna ask to borrow the brush, and all of that, and they be with all the shits. It don't keep them from wanting to throw no type of pussy at me. They still want to throw that pussy in a circle. Still want to do it.
Right.
So
I believe it.
This idea that there's not a sector of Black women who are not attracted to effeminate men is also like erroneous. There are a lot of straight Black women who find effeminate attributes on Black men to be really fucking hot. I know Black straight women who love to watch even gay porn. Like, they even find a man kissing another man to be a fucking turn on. I remember when Evan Peters from American Horror Story had that gay scene on one of those seasons of American Horror Story, and like women went up in flames. Like, if you look at the comment sections under those sex scenes, women are looking, oh my god, this is so hot. This is so hot. like they're just drooling over all this testosterone on testosterone dynamic.
Yeah,
so it's very fascinating.
They probably wouldn't say the same thing about a feminine man, though. A feminine male saying that.
Yeah, I think they would, because that's like
more. It's probably more like they like the too masculine, you know.
No, but that's why I always bring up a Prince spirit, because he's another prime example that women be here for the feminine shit. And Prince kept a lot of badass women, a lot of beautiful women around him. Women wanted Prince. Women were flocking, filling up the first 8 rows to his motherfucking concerts while he was in 10-inch heels, perm.
It's so weird though. It's
tight jeans, high-waisted pants, and all, like blouses. Stuff.
We get such you know mixed signals from women as far as that's concerned. You know, from on the one hand, it's sexy when Prince does it, but on the other hand, if you do the slightest thing as a man, then you're gay. You know, and it's like, the thing is, do we have to sing and dance like Prince? You know what I mean? In order to be free enough to do these things, you know.
Do you have to be like Prince to do what?
Well, I guess my question is, you bring up Prince a lot, and and it's sad, but that's sad because he's pretty much the only Black man that you can ever really talk about that went to that feminine extreme that women are still attracted to. So I say that to
but that's why I also bring up myself.
I say the only reason that you bring up Prince is because he can sing, he can dance.
No. I can tell you why I bring him up. I bring him up because he's just an obvious go-to. He's the perfect, like, iconic, popularized, sensationalized reference for a straight identifying man who was also hyper feminine in a lot of ways as well, irregardless of his musicality. And this is not just restricted. It says that your device can't be connected, Henry. You might have to come back in and come back out. Because to Henry's point, or to my point to Henry, he got to come back. You got to come back in, Henry. Is a lot of gay content creators know what the fuck I mean too, because a lot of gay content creators, ask Kinga Reeves, ask Adrian Expression, ask Sean Davy Way, ask like any openly gay content creator on social media, do they get their fair share of compliments and get their fair share of hit-ons from women? And the answer will be yes. We all receive this feedback from our female demographic as well. Women be here for the shits. I constantly get complimented. I constantly get women saying, "You my boo, you my boyfriend. I would date you, Conscious. You fine as fuck." And I see those type of comments from women on other openly gay men's platforms as well, irregardless of femininity, irregardless of the flamboyancy and the lingo. Yes, like that shit don't be stopping women from being turned on and finding those men attractive. So it's just not true that the only thing black women want is a 2 Chainz or a Juvenile or a Lil Wayne, like, because it's not monolithic, and those qualities in and of themselves, I think we have to ask ourselves, why would they be unattractive? Like, why would a feminine trait be unattractive on anybody? Why would a masculine trait on anybody be unattractive? Why would those things be unattractive? Like, that's the question we have to ask ourselves. A photon DNA. I know that you've been waiting to chime in along with Miss Oz. What do you have to say about this topic here today?
Hi, first I'd like to say great topic. I'm glad to be on the panel to give my analysis of it.
Okay. Thank you.
First, I would like to say, for the record, I hear you're saying a lot of women come at you and you're a homosexual man, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Right. Well, I'm a heterosexual man, and I get a lot of lesbian women hollering at me, you know. And I think what it comes down to, because again, I'm a heterosexual man, but as you were saying a little bit earlier, you're just more in tune with a lot of things, which causes the attraction. I agree with that. I think there's nothing wrong with expressing yourself and stepping outside of the boundaries and the standards that is presented upon us when we look at genders. I think it's unfair in this day and time. What's happening is we're starting to, just as a collective, as a people, that we're starting to really attempt to rearrange how we look at each other and how we look at ourselves. And because of that, we're getting all this confusion. But due to channels and panels like this one, is helping, clear some of the smoke out so we could walk through life and treat each other more respectfully.
Oh, I totally agree with that. I have a question for you as a heterosexual man. Like, just like I was asking Miss Trucker, would a effeminate trait on a man keep her, like, would that be a deal breaker for her? And as she said, hell no, I'm even engaged, happily looking forward to my motherfucking man and all of his uniqueness. For you as a heterosexual man, are you turned off by a masculine trait within a woman? Or, like, would that be a deal breaker if a woman had masculine tendencies?
No, absolutely not. My mother has masculine tendencies, as well as my baby's mother, my children's mother. She has very masculine tendencies, and it's weird. I wonder, do I like her because she's tomboyish in a sense? Pause. But maybe there's a side of me that is attracted to that male energy in her, and that's what I like about her. So,
wow,
so no,
that's powerful.
Yeah, I like it. I like that masculine in women. There's limits to it, and even if they go beyond that limit and find their sex attractive enough where they'll lay down with them, do you live your life? What I dislike is the ridicule and the overconsumption and the pornography of it all. When you make that that lifestyle into one that is just sexually deviant.
Right. Wow. That because see, I like that when we have these panels too, because I remember I had a panel like 2 months ago. I don't know. I think we're talking about trans women. And hey, Monica, I see you there, boo. And we got into a real deep conversation. And I had so many straight men who like watched my channel from the bushes who was like, yo, your platform alone has like just made me, it's giving me so much perspective on myself. Like, please keep these conversations going. Like, I can fuck with your platform and the type of conversations you like to have, because it's making me more comfortable in my trans attractedness, or it's making me more comfortable in my femininity as a straight man, because there are a lot of men who straight identifying men who are trans attracted, or they also are attracted to masculine women, or they even like certain things in the bedroom that would be considered gay, that to them is they don't interpret as queer. It's just interpreted as these are pleasure points. These are things that they just enjoy, but they get stigmatized a certain way. And so I think that there's a lot that we have to unpack so that people can really be themselves, and we can just stay from these like superficial, ridiculous notions that have nothing to do with nothing, and just really get into each other. Like I was just telling my homeboy Spirit, who just popped back up here, and I do want you to finish your point too, Henry. Is that
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right, word.
Because well, now that you're back, I want to ask you the same thing as a straight man that I asked Photon DNA. Do you like what a masculine
Photon DNA? I like that.
Would masculine qualities on a woman turn you off as a straight man? Like, would that be a deal breaker if a beautiful woman or a woman you were attracted to had masculine tendencies?
Nah, hell no.
No. Okay. Why? Why wouldn't it turn you off? Because a photon, DNA, even went as far as.
Go ahead.
No, I was saying that photon, DNA even said that hell, he may even be attracted to those masculine qualities in his female partner. I think that this is the level. This is the level of. Like, this is the level of depth that I think is really significant, because I speak a lot on this platform about what the fuck is it? Androphilia and genophilia. Now, I'm probably gonna get the definitions wrong, but they're probably in reverse if I do. I believe genophilia is hold on, let me pull this up real quick. If you guys are in the building, please give me a nasty piece of thumbs up on this video, honey. If you want to chime in and give your 2 cents, you are welcome to hit the StreamYard link. I want to just pull up this work real quick to make sure that I'm assigning the right definition. Cause this shit gets deep. It's so multi-layered, and as a Black people, I think we have to be careful, because we've just been so conditioned and so removed from the reality of how things are, because we've just been such a puppeteered people. Genophilia is okay. I'm coming, y'all. I'm coming. I don't know why this thing is doing the most. I should have pulled this up.
Can I say this?
Yes.
I think a lot of the deviancy, the sexual deviancy, as well as all of this, what they call the homophobia, comes from just overall the standards of beauty and just the standards of how we look at ourselves and how we look at genders has been so suppressed. And we hide, or the majority of us hide, our emotions and our feelings as men. I'm speaking just for men. We hide them so deep within our souls, so deep that we fighting with ourselves. And when just an inkling of it comes out, and we get the pushback from people saying, "Oh, you're acting too feminine," or "Oh, you're acting too this or that," we keep suppressing it. And I think that's that begins the deviancy for a lot of us that is, quote unquote, call themselves in the closet. They may not specifically be sexually attracted to men, but because of the depth of their suppression, it gets that way. It goes to that over the boundary. in a sense. Not to say that there's anything wrong or with doing those things. All I'm saying is not all of them that decide to go over the boundary really was thought or wanted to do that. But because it was so suppressed and it was so taboo, the confusion, as well as maybe even they may have been touched as children or as adolescents.
No.
No what?
Nobody's been touched. You know, nobody's been touched.
I didn't say you. I'm not speaking about you. Who hasn't been touched?
Period.
Who hasn't been touched? You just want to say no. Who hasn't been touched?
What you mean touch?
That's what people like to say all the time. That people.
But you're saying no. What do you mean no? What are you knowing about?
Hold on.
Hold on, don't raise.
Hold on. Before y'all get into that, I want you to finish what you were saying up all time, and then I'm gonna let Monica chime in.
Right. He just interjected, or she. I don't know who, but I'll stop. I'll stop because you obviously couldn't hold on to your thought until I finished.
Hey.
Don't
start with me.
Hold on, Monica. Hold on, Monica. Let me guide this. Continue on, brother man.
And I'm a she, sir.
I'm done. Sorry, I'm done. Go ahead.
I think that there's
I wasn't even coming on trying to start. Now you see, I was quiet for a minute, and I just chimed in, and he just started flipping out.
It's fine. I don't want.
It's okay if you was touched.
Just want to wonder why I flip out.
Hold on. You're doing well for time. Okay. You're doing really well, and I really want you to. You're doing well, Monica. I know that you're here, boo, and I want you to chime in as well. Before you do. Henry, because I know you are like on a crunch time here. Are you like?
I'm good.
But here's the thing. As a straight man, talk to me about like I need you as a straight man. Just like a photon is going off, like I need you to like get into this with me. Like so, something that came up last night in the interview was like Storm was like he don't mind his cakes being ate, but I was like the best way to get your cakes ate is definitely face down, ass up. And he was like, "Oh, that's way too much of a feminine position." And I might
have to try that one.
And I thought that was interesting because it being a feminine position, like it's even interesting how we have like genderized even certain sexual acts. Because for me, sex is just about pleasure. It has nothing to do with male, female, masc, or feminine. Like whatever gets your body off, what gets your mind off, whatever makes your eyes roll in the back of your damn head, like that's a non-discriminative thing. Like your pleasure is your pleasure. Like but it's interesting that living in a society where we've labeled and defined and categorized everything in such a way that we even have these polarizing ideas, even about something as simple as my legs up in the air as a man, or me on my back or on my stomach, or me. Like it's interesting. Like, do you deal with that type of conditioning too? Like, if a woman wanted to put you face down, ass up for whatever reason, would that bother you? Would you have an issue assuming the position?
Not at all. I mean, if a woman wants to, but here's the thing: I'm all for getting my ass eaten. It is a pleasurable spot for me as a man.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't really have no position. No problem with the position. I didn't have my ass eaten from the back. Me on my back, legs up.
Push through, Trick Daddy.
It's whatever.
Just get your life, Trick Daddy.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay, but hold on. But let me ask you this question because I just find it so fascinating. So, but like when did you ever have to undo anything in your mind, or were you just like always ball to the wall, or did you have to sit in yourself and be like, I want to paint my nails black? Why
Honestly,
should I want to get my ass ate? Why should I not? I want to
it took a woman.
twirl.
Honestly,
why should I not?
It took a woman to do that. Actually, I was dating this chick, and she was just begging for it. She was like, "Baby, please let me do it." And I was like, "No." It wasn't even gay for me. It was just nasty. I was like, "Why do you want to do that?" I just took the shit. You know what I'm saying?
Sir, did she wash the crack of your ass first? Respectfully.
That's none of your business, bro. But so
I'm going to go out on a limb I'm going to go out on a limb and say that everybody who wants to eat cakes definitely prefers fresh cake. So I'm sure there was a washing and scrubbing of such. I'm assuming, yes.
Yeah. I mean,
sure.
we're hygiene. I mean, come on, it's hygiene. You know what I'm saying? So that's the idea, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it was initially a woman that brought it
you
up,
gotta
and then
make
after
sure
she
you
did
do
it,
it.
I was like,
initially that it was
"This is
just
the
like, how
bomb."
would somebody want their tongue in my ass? Like, who wants to eat ass?
So what now?
Ain't no
I
wrong with
said, so
eating
for
ass.
you,
Just
it was
make
more
sure
so
your
just
ass
like
clean.
why would a woman want to put her face in a man's ass? For you, it wasn't even about whether it was gay or feminine or
Right.
masculine. Just
Right.
like a woman just. But hold on, but let me ask you this question because a lot of men like to eat women's ass. Would that not be the same? Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, some women do
Ass is
say that.
ass,
Some
right?
women do have an issue with that. You know, some women do be like, "Oh, if you want to eat my ass so much, why don't you just eat a man's ass?" And I'm just like, I mean, that is a completely different thing. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
some women do say that, but I mean, that's just pure ignorance if you ask me. But I mean, I get it. You know what I'm saying? Like, here's the thing. I don't often only.
I think your Boost Mobile is struggling. It's not persevering. I need your Boost Mobile to persevere, Henry. Are you there?
I got you. Can you test it?
Okay, there you go. You're back.
1, 2, 3. Test it. All right.
Testing. You're back.
All right. Am I back? All right.
Yes. Hey,
what's up, guys?
Can I get everybody to mute too? Can I get everybody to mute because I hear some air or something happening? Okay, there you go. Are you there, Shelly?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, love. I just want to introduce you to the panel.
Sorry, that's okay. I
just want to introduce you to the panel.
Oh, thank you. And thank you for letting me even come up, right? I don't want to interrupt what y'all have going on here. I'm so glad you did a part 2 of this conversation you had last night because it was so amazing. So that's what I was talking about on my channel. I was like,
you were dead on. When I saw the live stream last night, I was like, I have to come back and like talk about this because they were heavy. Like they had their foot on Storm's neck last night on this whole topic of sexuality, and I was just like, we gotta talk about it. We have to do it.
They did, and I hope that other people watch that live and do commentary on it, give their feedback on it. And some people might say, well, why are people invested? Well, it's content, it's YouTube, and it's a great topic. But the reason why I hit the link is because I wanted to tell you that you have some feedback on the panel, right? And I don't want people to not hear what's going on here because this is a great conversation. So I'm not for sure where the feedback is coming from. And then Monica, her sound is so low, we really can't hear her at all. So I just wanted to make sure that you know about that so that while you're having this conversation, I didn't know.
You know what? I'm gonna have to blue you up because see, you be acting like the goddamn engineer and shit to the goddamn show and shit, honey. So I'm gonna have to blue red you up, child. But yes,
listen, I just don't want anybody to not hear what's going on because this is such a good
Can you hear me now?
conversation. We can hear you, but you are low. You're low.
This is my iPhone. I don't know.
It sounds like you got some earbuds in, Monica, or something. It's like
I ain't got no earbuds in. I don't know what it is.
It sounds like it's something in front of your phone, like something like it is kind of. I can make you out, but
yeah, we can hear you. But I feel like it would be great if we could hear you even better.
Can you hear
so
me
that
now?
when you're making we can hear you. Just sound low. Do you have on Bluetooth?
I don't have on anything.
No, I don't know what. Boo, do you think that you can adjust her sound? You know how when you can go into the thing and you can adjust the sound and you can make her sound louder on the StreamYard part?
Edit mic settings. This must be a new feature.
No, it's always been there. Click that and then turn her.
Let me take my shit all the way because when they scream and holler over motherfuckers, I need to be able to tromp. I need to turn my own shit up. I didn't know that yet.
Yeah. Okay. No, when they scream and
it don't let me. It don't let me. Oh, okay. I see it. I got it.
You see it?
Yeah.
Okay. Now talk, Monica.
Can you hear me now?
You sound a little bit louder.
Better. Yeah, you sound a lot better, and that's probably as good as it's going to get for sure.
All right. Well, as I was saying, like
you need to be doing tutorials on this StreamYard shit, child. Like I don't. I
don't want to change. Get off the flow of the show.
Okay.
It's amazing. I want to jump back into the comment section and listen in or whatever. And that's all I wanted. Okay, you're doing a great job.
Okay,
I'm so
I
proud of
appreciate you, love. Thank you.
All right, bye-bye.
Okay, but Henry, before I get off
Yo.
of you completely, but not completely, but before we pass the torch on, so you like, so I want, because when we first met, like when I first walked through your tattoo shop, you was like, nigga, I'm jealous of you because you get to move around this motherfucking world without a fuck to give. Like that level of freedom is almost envious. So like, but as a like, so what goes through your mind as a straight man about your own autonomy and your own creative right and licensing over the way you can live your life? Like, do you not tell, like, what keeps you from giving yourself 100% to make the world deal with whatever is you? Is it the
What is
backlash?
keeping me from that?
Judgment? Is it?
First of all, I'm not making my voice soft. This is how I sound. So, for the person to comment, somebody said I'm trying to make my voice sound.
Don't be interrupting Monica to respond to no motherfucker in the chat. Okay, you type her and cuss her out. Okay. You guys, I'm gonna let you chime in though, because I do want you to chime into this discussion, boo. Henry. So what goes through your mind? Like what keeps you from just being like?
I live pretty free as I am now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I enjoy the way, you know, I enjoy the masculinity that I portray.
Mm-hmm.
And I put, I mean, you know what I'm saying? I don't necessarily like want to wear a dress. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, and I'm not saying that to say, meaning I don't necessarily want to be flamboyant. I don't necessarily want to be expressively flamboyant. I probably would if I were in the right and have the right people around me that can, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. But I mean, I'm trying to give you the best answer possible, because I'm just more of a man now. You know what I mean? Like, I used to be that way. I used, like, when I was young, I used to be like real expressive and all of that stuff. But now I put all of that nurture, all of that woman stuff into my kids. You know what I'm saying? Being, you know, trying not to be as, you know, like, brittle as masculinity would be. I try to be soft. I try to be nurturing. I try to be, you know, loving and caring. I tell my homeboys I love them, and I told my homeboy he was handsome in public the other day.
That you told me you love me? Because you definitely tell me I'm beautiful all the time. But when's the last time you told me that you love me? Well, I need love too. I know I'm a bad. I know I'm a bad bitch.
I love you, bro. I love you. You know what I'm saying?
I love you.
You know. But, you know, it's these things that I'm, you know, those are the things that I look more to as being and sounding feminine or gay or stuff. Not so much as, you know, the twirl, like, because I'll dance and I'll twirl. I don't give a shit. You know what I'm saying? But you know, those are the things that I have to think about. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, this is wrong if I do it this way, or if I rub my homeboy's back when I'm talking to him and he needs, you know what I'm saying, some counseling. You know what I mean? You know, these are necessary things, and they're things that, like, you know, I don't know, if we were all brought up with a better sense of an entire whole man is and should be, then I think that we would have a better idea of what it really means to be masculine. Then we would have more, you know what I'm saying, more sexually, maybe more sexual fluidity in the way that we are, less DL, you know, because what I was talking about, like, I identify with that. You know what I'm saying? Like, there is the whole down low situation because, you know what I'm saying, like, a lot of men, they want to experiment, and they think that even they want to be like, am I gay? I don't know. Let me see if I can have sex with a dude. You know, and just the very act of thinking about that is gay. The fact that, like, you even have to see about it is fucking gay. You know what I'm saying? And then the next thing is like, well, what the fuck is so bad about being gay? Or what the fuck is so bad about being bi? Because you can't be bi as a man. You got to be gay. I mean, that's the craziest thing I ever heard.
And there is a lot of, I do hear some Black women also, like, for some reason have a fear of dating bisexual men. Like there's this like fear mongering of bisexual men, and because somebody did post it in the comment earlier in the comment section about should Black women start dating bisexual men. I think that Black women and Black men should date just whoever the fuck they want to date. I don't I don't know what it means for the emphasis to be on bisexual, because it's almost
I get it to an extent. To an extent, I get it because
so what if? Because I'm asking the panel like. But I mean, let's just you speaking first. Like, to what extent do you get it? Like, help me.
Okay, I get it to the extent where there is some sort of sexual competition that women have to always face when dealing, especially with Black women, because Black women are I hate to say it, but Black women are not the first pick. Is what I'm saying, as far as the standards of beauty and things like that. So Black women are always like, well, damn. Now our men are going out now our men want to fuck men. Now they want to fuck white women. You know what I'm saying? So I get that aspect. And then there's a second one of the fear mongering of AIDS. You know what I'm saying? It is. And all of that came out of white supremacy, if you ask me. White supremacy and racism. They attributed gay men, gay Black men to AIDS, and it's scary and things like that. So those are I think the two biggest aspect of it. And the second is brainwashing from white supremacy.
Okay, yes. So then, in that way, I can certainly understand that women, because of patriarchy, particularly Black women, because Black women already are pitted against everything. It's just like it's more obstacles. It's more things they perceive as an obstacle that they have to now navigate through. But to the point, like. Sexuality has nothing to do with character and integrity, so we shouldn't use orientation as a way to measure someone's character, because they have nothing to do with anything. Like, if a bisexual man is going to be with you, his capacity to be faithful is not based upon
his sexuality.
It's based upon his ability to just be a disciplined man and keep his goddamn in his pants. The same issue that any man would have to struggle with, or any woman would have to struggle with, in terms of taming their monogamy and their commitment to their partner. The sexuality is not a part of that. So we have, and that's why we have to talk about these things here. Mrs. Oz, I know that you've been waiting around as well. Hold on, I'll come back to you, Henry. Oz, are you there, boo?
Yes.
Hi,
yes,
Mr.
we're
Oz.
here.
How are you doing?
I am blessed and highly favored. How are you, my brother?
I am blessed, sir, and even more favored.
Yes, indeed.
I'm glad to have you here. I wanted you to hit the link because you and Mrs. Oz have a very unique relationship, because you are a man who embraces your fair share of your own femininity as a straight heterosexual, a cisgender heterosexual male, and Mrs. Oz is a cisgender woman who embraces her masculinity, and you guys have been able to have a whole marriage, produce a whole family, and make those qualities, work for you guys. So you, as a straight man, what is your relationship to your own femininity?
Well, me being a Pisces and having 6 sisters, and I grew up that very same way. I am the softer one as far as my wife is concerned. My wife is the male, I'm the female. When it comes to my emotion. But at the same time, when it comes down to me doing what I have to do as a man, putting in that work and doing what we have to do, then it kind of varies. But on the offset, if I'm wearing a purple outfit, I would like my toes to be purple. I like to coordinate everything that I do as far as looking good, smelling good. And this woman here takes care of all of that. So me being who I am, a lot of people would say I'm gay, I'm bisexual. I'm just me. That's how I've always been. My hair was fried and dyed and laid to the side until I start losing it. Till I start losing it in my 40s, and then I chopped it all off. But before then, I believe
He prissy.
that a free man, let's just say that I'm free to know who I am and what I can do. I'm able to sit down and talk to women on a woman's level, not trying to be over them because I'm a man. I listen, I understand, and I can sit down and have a conversation to where we're both talking as equals, not me being I'm domineering and whatever I say go. No, because what I think always ain't the right thing. And it takes a woman to know her worth, and I try to instill her worth in her as well as myself.
So what? Because I really want to distinguish masc and femme from orientation. So, like, as a straight cisgendered man, when you decided that you also like to decorate your toenails with toe polish, why? Like, is that like that just has to do with your fanciness and aesthetics and style, and it's just a style thing for you?
Yeah,
or because I know, like, I've asked a lot of men, Mr. Oz, who like paint their nails, and every man who does kind of symbolically, their symbolism behind is different. Like, some men I've asked, like, who paint their nails, because I paint my nails too. Like, I have a straight homeboy who paints his nails black, and I say, why do you do this? He said, because the painted nails represent that I'm something other than traditional. That it's a symbol that I'm something other, that I'm in a other, not a gay category, but just other, that something separate from the norm. I've asked other men why they paint their nails. Some of them have said that it's because it represents the fact that they are connected to their femininity. Like, it's an outward expression that they are connected to their femininity in that way. For other men, it is very superficial. Like, they just think that it looks cool, it's badass. It's like it represents rebellion. It could represent kind of a middle finger to the system of social constructs, and it can represent a middle finger to society. Like, fuck you, I'll do what the fuck I want to do as a man. I don't need society. So it's different for everybody. So the things that people will say are feminine about you as it relates to your style, what's your context for the nail painting, the long hair, the toenail polish, etc.?
I'll say this. I've always been a peacock. I like to be seen. It's
okay,
not it looks good on me. I want to be like I said again, coordinated. That's just the way I have to look good. I like people to see me. And then it's somewhat of a shock factor to see a 6'5", 200-pound man,
black man especially,
black man at that, with my nails painted. People look at me and then ask questions. So as far as, and I've always done that. I can fit in. I can sit in where I fit in. I'm an outward person. I like to talk to people. I can talk to anybody, anywhere. So I'm on everybody's level, so to speak. And I've always been that way. I'm capable of being able to talk in any environment and be comfortable within myself. It's not been a judgment. When people called me the names they called me growing up, I had to look at it I did look different. I did act different from the norm of how a boy is supposed to come up. If you understand my meaning. I'm a 70s kid. So doing the stuff that I was doing and accentuating my outfits and stuff, it would to them seem like, wait a minute, this ain't a full man. He got some, as they used to call it back then, sugar in his tank. So when I've been through that all my life, so I learned to live how I am and to understand I don't care what you think of me or how you look at me. It's how I look at myself. And that I've had plenty men in junior high school and high school like me send me love letters politely. Hey, I appreciate it. That's nice. You feel that way. I don't go that way, but we can still be friends. I'm comfortable. I can go to a Klan rally. That's how popular I am. So
Klan.
I've always been that. I've always been that person that stuck out among the crowd, so to speak.
Yes. To this, to Toya's point in the comment section, like, this is why we don't need to be ostracizing the men who are outwardly themselves, because they are the ones who have the confidence to be who they are.
Let me go. I have to go, Conch. I got to
No. Hold on, real quick, Monica. Just hold on, real quick, and you can go right after this, booth. You can take the floor. This is really important because the DL men are literally on the DL. Y'all need to be worried about not the Storm and Rose of the world. You need to be worried about the man who's queening out in your gown when you're not home. You need to be worried about the man who is doing the Beyonce dance when you leave to go pick them kids up from daycare. You don't need to be worried about the men who have the balls to be flamboyant and to be charismatic and to be feminine in front of you. Whatever those men tell you more than likely is the truth. If they say they're straight, regardless of how they dress, of how they present, it's because they more than likely fucking are. You need to be worried about the niggas who ain't comfortable rolling their neck and rolling their eyes and doing whatever they do and they being. Them the niggas that y'all putting Marquise Rivers on. Them the niggas that y'all putting the download detective on. Y'all ain't putting the download detective to go see if these men who are just being who they are out in the open get down a certain way. Y'all putting the DL detective on these niggas who pushing the cocaine into the community, who toting the guns, who riding the big Benzes, who all hard up and rough up. Y'all putting that nigga on them niggas. If a nigga is in your face with his nails, with his hair fried, laid down to the side, or he gagging, he dragging, and he roasting, and he's willing to put that on forefront, and he identifies as straight, clearly that's not a man who would have an issue saying he was gay if that was the case, because he ain't got no problem saying and being anything else in y'all face. So my question would be, why would Storm Monroe have to hide it? He ain't hiding the fact that he has effeminate attributes to begin with. He ain't hiding the fact that he likes to gossip. He likes to get in business. He likes to be a little messy. He likes to be a little shady. All things that would traditionally be assigned to gay men, but are not necessarily exclusive to gay men. So my question is, why would a man who's willing to put himself out there in all these various ways, even when Storm came through this platform last night and was honest about, hey, I want to try getting my ass ate. I don't mind getting my dick sucked from the back. Like, was completely transparent and open. So then what the fuck he gonna lie about being gay for? Clearly, and he also not gonna have nothing to lose by admitting he gay, because clearly, if most of y'all already think he is, there's nothing for him to even lose as a result of coming out. The truth may in fact just be he's not fucking gay, and people just want him to be, because that's just an easy go-to assumption because of everything else that comes with Storm Monroe. That's why I titled the video that, could it be y'all? Could it be the public? Maybe it's not actually Storm. Maybe it's all of this toxic, narrow-minded shit that we reinforce as a society and don't realize that we're really the problems, that we're really the ones looking for Storm's sexuality with a flashlight in the daylight for no other reason other than just being this conditioned to put black men into a box. Where if you are like a Storm Monroe, then you just must be gay. Maybe must not. Maybe it must not be. And I'm not gonna let women be able to get away with being able to be who the fuck they want to do. They can be bald headed and all, baby. They can play basketball. They can play team football, do all type of shit. And women get to still love to some dick and still get to like be that girl. Let the Storm Monroes of the world be straight men. Ray, you said it perfectly. I think Storm is awkwardly heterosexual. And I say awkward in terms of he has a quirky personality. He's very smart. And he's a goofball. And so, of course, his masculinity probably comes off very awkwardly. But that doesn't mean he's gay. It could just mean there's a social awkwardness to Storm. That's not a negative thing either. That just makes everything he does unique because it's unique to fucking Storm. Like there's so many other perspectives and ways to look at Storm than to do the obvious. It's just like, don't you ever just want to not do the obvious? Don't you just ever want to not? Don't you just want do you ever just sit back as a person and be like, why am I not entertaining 50 million 11 other ways of perceiving a thing? Like, why do I want to make everything so simple? Maybe because that's what we're after. We're after the most simplistic way to use our brains, honey. Don't make me cut through no loops, girl. I don't want to do no backpedaling, the pussy popping. I don't want to do none of that, girl. Just girl. If it look like a duck, like somebody said, if it look like a damn duck, quack like a goddamn duck, poop like a goddamn duck, taste like a goddamn duck, girl. Just let it be duck, not chicken, bitch. Chicken should not be tasting like duck, but sometimes, baby, if you season chicken a certain way, baby, it's gonna taste like some good damn duck. Okay? Sometimes it's chicken that tastes like duck. Hey, Toya.
Hi,
Hey,
good
boo.
afternoon,
I'm gonna let you go after Monica. Thank you for participating and showing up. Monica, go ahead,
Thank
boo.
you.
I know you got a lot to say, girl, so say
Well,
it.
first of all, I want to say follow me on Instagram, Monica Loves 9000. Also subscribe to my YouTube channel. You know, that's what I want to say too.
Yes.
Because I got a new Instagram. The other one shut off. They got rid of it. All I want to say is, yeah, you're right. They don't need to be focusing on the Storm Monroes. They need to be focusing on the Pookie and Ray Rays that's fucking up their community. They need to be focusing on the niggas that's impregnated with 4 and 5 kids and running off like a bitch and not being nowhere to be found. They need to be focusing on these niggas that's sleeping up on their couch and eating up all their food and driving their cars. Probably to go sleep with some other bitch while you at work paying all the bills. That's what these bitches need to be worried about. Stop worrying about this thing about black folks. They're worried about all the wrong shit. That's why nobody is building in the black community. The black community sits here and worries about a bunch of nothing. You too busy worrying about somebody sagging. You too busy worrying about somebody being gay or being feminine. But you got these niggas sagging their pants down to their ass because they really want their ass fucked. They want somebody to be in their booties. That's what they want. But then women think this shit is sexy. That's not sexy. Actually, that mean he giving an invitation that he wants somebody in his booty. He want his booty hole ate out. He want his booty stroked. Because like I said, the man's G-spot is up his booty hole. So that's what he want. And
I knew
right.
where he was going.
Just because a man is feminine does not make him gay. Like, and it's glad I enjoy this platform and I like being on here.
Yes.
First of all, this is the only platform on YouTube that I'm welcome on because I've been on other platforms where I got kicked off. They found out I was
Monica, hold on now. Now you gotta tell the whole truth. Now that's because you a damn nuclear missile on these streets too. Now.
Well, yeah, like I said, Dawa, I went on and I shut his show. I got that nigga you know how ignorant Dawa is. I went on his show and I set it off.
Well,
I got him
you wanted to do some collabs, so you need to hit me up so we can get some things started on your channel and stuff.
Exactly. But like, yeah.
But let me ask you a question, Monica. As a woman yourself, like when it comes to the men you date, are you turned off by effeminate attributes in a man?
No, I'm trans. Like I said, I like feminine men, especially feminine light skinned men. You know, it's something about a feminine light skinned man that's just real sexy to me. You know, like I say, I'm trans. I'm still a woman, but in the bedroom, like I fuck like a whole nigga. Like
Ooh,
for real, I get real dominant in the bedroom. I still like using my dick.
ooh,
You know, I still
real
get pleasure out of
salacious,
that.
honey.
You know, and I still
Mm.
like to make some booty clap. I mean, conch. You know, light skin, yellow bone booty. Like I like that's something I like to see. You
Okay.
know, I like that. I like that. I like it. I'm like, you
Live
know,
how
I'm a
you
freak.
live,
I
honey.
like.
YOLO.
I'm a freak.
Live
I
your
like,
look.
you know, I would eat booty. I lick feet. I like toes too. I don't know what it is. I like to lick
Okay,
feet.
Monica.
I lick somebody's feet
You should have
clean.
been on the show last night when we had the Mr. Nasty Time segment. Did you watch
Uh,
last night's discussion?
yeah, I heard about it, but you know, I was too tired. I
You
had
need to
fell asleep.
watch, lad. You need to watch. You need to go back and listen.
It's something about light skinned men and you know making their booties clap and they sucking on their toes and stuff.
Okay,
Man,
you
that's
know,
just
okay.
sexy to me.
Monica, you hold that thought, and you sit right there with all that booty clapping and toe sucking and stuff. Okay, you just sit there right there real quick. I
You
want
know,
to,
like I you know, I am what I am. I like that. I like that. You
ain't
know,
nothing wrong with it.
no, I
Jackie
like
said
that. And I like light skinned mixed men. I like white men too, you know, but there's something about mixed feminine men. I like a man that's most submissive and feminine. It's just sexy to me. You know, we got our own unique relationship. You know, I like that curly hair and all that, you know, licking all on their skin and stuff. I mean, that's just sexy to me, Conch.
Okay,
You know, I'm
I
very
ain't mad
raw.
at it, Monica. I'm not mad
I'm
at
very
it.
raw about, you know, my intentions and
Yes.
stuff. You
So
know,
hold on. So let's bring it back to So let's bring it back to the masculine and femme thing. So like as a trans woman, you also don't divorce your own masculine energy just because
no, I don't. I
you are
learned to
a trans woman
embrace it.
either.
Embrace it, honey. It be some days I don't even want to take my hormones. You know, some days, you know, I mean, I'm passable most days. I'm most passable. Some days I just be straight up dyking and looking like a dude, you know. And I show that dumb masculine part of me. It'd be some days I can't help, especially when I get horny, Conch. When I get horny, it's like
You
all
really want to turn this into a nasty time
I'm not trying
live, Monica.
Conch. You know how I am. You know how I am. But
We
I want to tell
got
you
to come
about
back
this
and do a whole other
platform.
show.
I was on this platform called Mocha Mysterious. It was a black woman. She was a divested black woman. And this is why I say I like coming on here because I feel loved and welcomed on here. But I was on this platform and I thought I was loved and welcomed on that. See, they didn't know I was trans. I didn't say I was trans until later on. You know, but they would just hear my voice and everything, and they would say something about black men. I was on there going off too, and they was like, yes, I got loved on there too. But the moment they found that I was trans, I had gotten into this heated argument with this black woman on there, and it really pissed me off. I had to cuss her out because she wanted to talk about. They were talking about black men and shit, and then they started talking about black LGBT folks offending black women, and I'm like, no. See, all I see is black LGBT people all over TikTok and everything sticking up for black women. So like, what are you talking about? Then she started going in on me, being disrespectful towards me, saying, "Oh, that's the black man in you, and that's just the ape in you for you know the neck." And I had to cuss her ass out. I'm like, "Bitch, go fuck yourself."
Jeez.
You know, it kind of pissed me off.
For sure.
But, you know, and as much as I stick up for black women, like I said, my mother's a black woman, my sister's a little black girl. You know, it's black women like that make me kind of make it hard sometimes for even to stick. I still stick up for black women,
right?
You know, but sometimes but I don't like black women that's like that though.
Right.
You know, I stick up for black women that's for the
like
girls
on a sexual, romantic level and all that. No.
Yeah, I stick up for black women that's for, you know, the LGBT community and for the queens and everything. But them black women that stuck up, it's like fuck them too. Just like I say, fuck black men, fuck them too. You know.
Well, you know, I make a distinction between black people and niggas.
Yeah, it's a difference. I don't like niggas and I don't like crackers. It's different being a white person and being a black person. I don't like niggas and crackers. I separate the two.
Right.
You know, just like I don't like nigga children. You know, these ignorant nigga children that
okay, you know, Monica, okay, I got a question for you, Monica. Okay, I got a question before I let Toya chime in too. Damn, what was my question? It had to do with you and okay. Oh, when you were talking about like sometimes you don't take your hormones, etc. Like, do you feel like some of the things you think you have to do as a trans woman in terms of how you present and your aesthetic has more to do with what society expects of you more so than
Well,
your own personal interest in doing those
you like
things?
to be honest, yeah. You know, I'm thinking I'm
Mhm.
gonna have to take these hormones every day, but I've gotten to a point in my life, you know, I got a little bit older. I started taking hormones when I was 18. I'm finna be 22 in 2 months. I got to a point where fuck society standards, because it is black women who, I mean, it is black trans women who don't take hormones. I know it's one on YouTube. Her name is Leah. I forgot. She's a black trans woman. She doesn't take hormones either, and you know, she is kind of ambiguous. Like she passes, but at the same time, she kind of like in between, you know. And I like her because, and she also tops too, so she kind of been an inspiration to me as well, you know. And I know a lot of trans women. I grew up with some that don't. They used to be gay men at first, and that's now trans women that don't take their hormones and stuff. You know, I have one friend who I used to go to one person who I used to go to middle school with. Her name is Rye Austin. She is a porn star now. She, you know, but back in middle school, she used to be the flamboyant gay. She had rainbow colored hair and everything, you know. And I'm like, now she's transitioned over. She still has a thing, you know. I seen a porn video. She be on there slanging dick and everything and all that. So it's like seeing black trans women express themselves kind of got me to that point to where,
Yeah.
you know, maybe I can express my uniqueness more. I don't got to take
Well,
all these
that is the
hormones.
power of representation. You know, like I know that T.S. Madison earlier on in her career, she got a lot of heat for talking about her piece and embracing her piece and, you know, saying she didn't want the gender reassignment surgery. She enjoyed, you know, what God had given her in that regard. And a
Yeah, I
lot of trans
mean,
women harped on her and was like, girl, you know, you need to pretty much go all the way. Like, just like I was talking about how, like, earlier on when I was like experimenting with my androgyny and shit, like I got a lot of pressure from the gay community to either like you either gotta like woman it all the way up or just boy it
exactly.
up.
That's the thing about the gay community. Like even within the gay community and especially the black, they seem to have this no films and no trans. It's like me and you, like me and you, we are the film and the trans, you know. So it's like they have a problem with us, and it's like they set these fucking standards. But
And they
here's
keep
the
pushing
thing:
my motherfucking
they'll
ass to
sit
my
there and
motherfucking
they'll
pussy.
coddle these down low men who end up blowing their heads off. But they were down to
Ooh.
people that's actually out in their community, like me and you, Conch. You
Yeah.
know, they would talk cash money shit about us, and all I see is black LGBT people. So I'm like, where is this energy with these niggas that's killing y'all and doing this? Why y'all ain't got the same smoke for them, but you got the same smoke with it for each other? Like,
Yeah.
had this smoke for, you know, for the right people, you know,
Mhm.
because we your brothers and
Right.
sisters. I know we ain't gonna all get along, but at this route, we don't have black folks, we don't have white folks, we don't have nobody. A black LGBT people, all we have is each other. So sometimes we need
Sure.
to stick together, you know.
Sure.
You know.
And you guys can hit the link if you guys want to chime in. Stephen Daniels, could you elaborate a little bit more, sir? Thank you so much, Taz. I want to get Toya in here too. Are you still there, Toya?
I'm here.
Hey, boo.
Yeah.
What are your
Hi.
thoughts as you chime in
Oh
today?
yeah. I love this conversation because the fact of the matter is, like, pretty soon sexuality and its lines, they're going to be blurred, you know, because I think people in the diaspora tend to forget we played gender bending roles not that long ago. I keep
Absolutely.
mentioning Prince for some reason, ding 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 ding, who was a straight man who wore high heels and makeup but pulled the baddest women. So we've always played with sexuality, and that wasn't that long ago, you know. And then, you know, the thing is, I think we in the diaspora, it's funny because I also have a YouTube channel, and some of when I talk about these conversations, the homophobia and the transphobia is really, you would thought that we regressed back into some white supremacist ideology of what we think about sexuality. The repression is what is problematic within the diaspora, and that includes the church, y'all. Because the thing is, people like to throw Bible quotes, but yet how many babies, mamas, or fathers, and what have you, and they like to throw that into like those that are same gender loving people or trans. And the thing is, sexuality, everybody plays with it. That's I mean, but the problem is, I feel in our diaspora, we still use it as an insult to insult each other.
Yeah.
We use it as a way of we use it as a weapon. And that is actually hurting our community more when we use it as a weapon. I mentioned something earlier in the chat about DL, and that includes men and women, not just men. But the down low thing is really, really problematic. You hear all these stories now coming out, and especially my trans sister was talking about, she kind of hit on it a little bit, where you have the so-called straight men who want to be with trans women, but yet will do harm to them or brush them under the rug, or they'll be with other men and they won't, no, I'm straight. You got to look out for those types, because anytime a person is so homophobic that they'll say something, it's the machismo. Those are the people that you actually have to watch out for. Those are the ones that usually are the ones that are regret, or that are either they're repressing their sexuality. That's something that I did learn in a sex psychology course. And men and women, the lines are going to be very blurred really soon, probably in our lifetime. But the thing is, with us as a community, we have to have these conversations and dialogue, because we still use, excuse me, y'all not going to like what I say, the slave Bible religion, and that's a little bit of white supremacy, to lock us down into that idea of that, it's not okay. Or in the Bible, it says it's not okay. Well, it's not okay for you to eat shrimp, but you still do it. So, it's just, the thing is, in the diaspora, and I love the fact that, Monica, you hit the nail on the coffin when it came to the prison system, because I was going to mention that with the sagging pants. And I tell brothers, especially younger ones, I'm like, do you know where you got that idea from? Do you know where that comes from? Your sagging pants. And in prison culture, we all know what that means.
They want somebody in their booty. That's what they want.
I want to say to your point too, Toya, like, because of white supremacy and us being the people who were really stripped from our native land, our original metaphysical beliefs, and who were just stripped from that knowledge, like, when you really get into real African history all across the continent of Africa, like you said, like, we have played with gender and sexual orientation and gender swapping, and Africa's history is rich with this non-binary concept. And it's even interesting how African people largely had a more metaphysical view of these things. They weren't like westernized and superficialized and kind of dumbed down the way that we think of masc and femme and or sexual orientation. And what I don't like a lot about are the Black so-called woke leaders that we have, especially these like Hotep woke YouTube.
I don't like them. I do not like them. I hate them.
They don't, like the Umars and the young
Dawas, his bitch ass. Dawa is gay.
I don't even. That's why it's not even on.
Scammers.
Silly putty in my hand. He's so irrelevant to everything, but like to the more prolific figures like young Pharaoh and Dr. Umar Johnson, like as knowledgeable as these men are about so many other things they speak about regarding white supremacy and its impact on the Black community, is that they don't tell the truth as it relates to Africa's original relationship to queerness in general, because it's very rich, it's very complex.
Right.
There's lots of layers to those discussions, and African people approached the issue of gender and orientation from various lenses that didn't equate to a demonization, but even more so of an ascension or even a completeness of the soul, that all souls possess this male and female dynamic, that the divine itself represents and symbolizes and personifies itself through feminine and masculine expression and being. And so we've just, so this idea that like queerness is not black and that this is all European whitewash shit. It's like, no, actually the homophobia comes from is from Europe.
Yes.
Actually,
Thank you. That's
the
what it is.
anti-blackness
That's what it
and the
is.
patriarchy and all of that shit is what the white man brought to you. This why they had to evangelize the shit out of Africa, because Africa was rich in letting these weird people run around in their femininity and masculinity and all of this oneness and being and self-acceptance.
And that's what people get it mixed.
Oh,
Oh, Morgan, we can be friends in real life, girl. But yeah, somebody said they
Yeah.
want
Monica,
to
if
be
you
my
don't
friend
stop
in real life.
interrupting me to respond to a motherfucker in the chat,
Okay, I'm sorry.
while I'm letting the Black Jesus use me up here, and you interrupting my service,
I'm sorry.
while I'm letting the cornrow Jesus have his way through me. Now, so bringing it back, Toya, how do you identify? Are you a cis?
Well, so I am a cisgender woman.
Okay.
Yes, I was born a woman. But when it comes to my sexuality, in high school, my first sexual experience was with a female. I mean, I didn't lose my virginity to a man until I was 20. So, but my first experimentation was with women or girls, I guess you can say, because I was a teenager. And with that, I used to call myself bisexual, but now I try not to use labels, because that's another thing that divides us too. Because we keep talking about gay, lesbian, straight, bi, but there's other things. There's pan now. There's so many other things, and I used to call myself trisexual.
Come on, freak.
Yes, exactly. And the thing is, I see myself leaning more on the straight side, but I do like my females. I think the woman's body is beautiful. I think the woman's touch is soft. I mean, I have an open relationship, so I'm okay with that. I don't believe in monogamy because that's just me. And I was raised as a strict Catholic, so I too was raised in the church. And especially in the Catholic Church, where there's a lot of homophobia, but a lot of homosexuality going on too, but that's swept under the rug. You don't talk about that. But even some of the relationships that I've had with men, some have been bisexual, some have been straight. Some of my straight ex-boyfriends have painted their nails, used to wear eyeliner, or what have you. And some of these were brothers too, that were okay with their sexuality. And the thing is, the reason why I preferred bisexual men, because they weren't lying to me. They weren't telling me, they weren't lying to me about what they were doing. They were living in their real truth. They weren't being like like some of these rappers now. Yeah, like some of these fools walking around like, I'm so straight, I eat my hot dog in the middle. Like, no, that's toxic.
I stay away from the color pink because I'm not gay.
And those are the ones that usually are.
Right. Performative masculinity is a telltale sign that a man is struggling with some things if he got to perform his masculinity.
That part. And the thing is, I think here, parts of the diaspora, I'm not even going to say all anymore, because even when I go to Europe, when I see some brothers, they're a little bit different in like the UK, but they still have the same ideology that we have here of like, what masculinity is, and I'm supposed to be tough and machismo. A lot of women don't like machismo, because that machismo stuff is going to lead to toxicity. And the thing is with that, there's nothing wrong with being a little bit macho, but the machismo is a red flag. And then it's funny on YouTube in certain sectors, like when I listen to the Manosphere, which is comedy.
Rich comedy.
They talk about they want a woman to be submissive, but yet I find these men that are supposedly so tough and high value in the Manosphere have very femme qualities by not controlling their actions. And I'm not actually, I shouldn't say femme qualities, because that's an insult to femme. it seems like they're hiding something, you know, like their repression is so there. And it's like a hatred for women and gays and lesbians. Oh wait, excuse me, not lesbians, because lesbianism is fetishized. My bad. That's another double standard.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot of ignorance. I was gonna. You said something, God. It just came to mind. I was gonna ask you. Oh, so what do you think about this? Like, so inserting Storm Monroe back into this conversation. What do you think this is about? What do you think? Like this? Why are people struggling?
I think it's Black people being nosy. I think it's Black people being nosy, because I've been watching Storm for a long time, and you know, I even question about it, but I'm like, you know what? It's maybe I don't know what he likes, but then the thing is, who cares? It ain't our business, you know. As long as he's not giving people the germ, like why do we care? And plus, they're different. And I love what you said earlier. Black men are not a monolith. Neither are Black women. And the fact that, you know, we're sitting here questioning, some people are questioning his sexuality just because he doesn't eat his hot dog in the middle, that means there's something wrong with you if you're questioning his sexuality. And it's usually those people that question someone's sexuality that be doing the most dirt. So I find it, you know, my thing is, it's none of our business. We'll find out. Maybe he likes both. Maybe he's a trisexual. Who knows?
Well, you know what was so funny? When Photon DNA was up here, he was speaking about like how I think his baby mother or his girl or one of these women, I think it's his girlfriend. She has like masculine qualities. And he actually thinks he might be attracted to her because she has some of those masculine qualities. And I find that to be so fascinating to me, because there's a thing called genophilia and androphilia. And genophilia is the attraction to female qualities. So that means that like you can be a person who is oriented toward females and like variations of femininity on anybody else. So that can be a trans woman, that could be a very effeminate gay man, that could be wherever femininity is predominant. It doesn't matter really if it's what sex is on, but because you are attracted to the femininity. This is why a lot of straight men who sleep with trans women will still consider themselves heterosexual, because while society will focus on it's a trans man, this is a trans woman, this is a biological male who transitioned to female, they would say you're gay. But to the man themselves, they're like, but what attracted me to this woman is all of the woman attributes. I'm attracted to her figure, her form, her smell, the things that I identify as femininity. Same thing with androphilia, is the attracted to masculinity. So a lot of women who are androphilia, they can be attracted to biological men, they can be attracted to trans men, they can be attracted to studs, they can be attracted because they're into masculinity. So the gender can become irrelevant. And I say all of that to say that these things are so much more deeper. Just like our personalities in conjunction with our orientation, in conjunction with our mass to fem ratio, they make us interesting people. But I feel like we have to let orientation be something that a person, like, we have to still make orientation about desire. I just am far away from this idea that you can dress in a way that's gay, you can talk in a way that's gay. None of that shit means gay unless a person desires the opposite sex or the same sex or whatever it is. The rest of that shit is superficial to me, and it's so subjective. And like, to Mr. Oz's point up here, he's a whole heterosexual man. He likes to coordinate his purple pants with his purple toenails and got a whole wife and put good dick on her. Okay, when Cat is calling me out. So there's no, it's just like, you know, like you can't make gay or straight about nothing other than a person saying this is what my desire is. Everything else is like, there's no, we think that they're like these other things are blue clues. Like, okay, he feminine, he pop his wrist, his voice is elevated, then he must be gay. No. He likes to ass ate. No. He Like, I know a lot of men who like to be pegged, but they want to be pegged by women. They're not turned on
Right.
by
And
submitting
those
to
are
a
straight
man.
men too.
Yeah,
Right.
they're turned on by submitting to a woman in a way. They are attracted to women dominating them in that way and allowing them to submit to their femininity while they submit themselves to her masculinity. If you ask them to do that to a man, like they can't even get hard or aroused off of thinking about a man in that position. So it's layered. Rev G, are you there,
It's very
sir?
layered.
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Hello, advocate and ally. How are thou? We hear you loud, live, and in color. Thank you for blessing the platform.
Oh man, I am so blessed by this conversation. You don't know how long I've been waiting for a conversation like this in Black YouTube land. Oh my gosh, I'm just so grateful for this because this is something that I've been really advocating for and working hard for, is to really have that conversation where people can have a conversation about sexuality and heteronormativity in the Black community, and do it from a place of love, decency, and respect. So I definitely appreciate this conversation and
Yes.
everyone on the panel, and I appreciate the work that you're doing as well. Truly.
Okay, so give me your thoughts. Like, what is your, like, as a, because you identify as a you are a cisgender heterosexual male yourself.
Right.
So
Right.
what do you think about feminine attributes on straight men? Like, is that like, how do you, in your own mind, like, how do you make sense of it? Because a lot of straight men are struggling they struggle with this whole, like, feminine, like, proximity to any type of feminine trait, even on other men. Like, it has to be gay. Black women do the same thing. He must be gay. For you as a straight man, when you see other men, like, what makes you believe that a straight man can be feminine without being queer?
Well, the main thing is that what we view as feminine or masculine is based on our social norms. It's based on what we learn in our family, what we learn in society. And as someone who's also a fatherhood advocate and a fatherhood educator, I remember having a conversation with a group of men, and one of the Black fathers was talking about, he had a set of twins who were like 4 years old, a boy and a girl, and the girl would come and hug him, and he'll be okay. When his 4-year-old son came to hug him, he stopped him, and he said, "No, we don't do that. We men, we do pounds. And he said at that moment he noticed his son felt rejected, and his son had tears in his eyes. And to see this grown man talk to other men with tears in his eyes, and he said, I feel like what we've learned about what it means to be a man and what it means to be, to embrace our sensitivity, we learn wrong. And I rejected my son, and I would no longer do that. And all the fathers in the room hugged each other. So really, to wrap that up, I think what we've learned about what it means to be a man and a woman, and masculinity and femininity, what happens when you don't meet that, and we see what happens. What happens is you have a lot of angry men who was told for years and years that if you show any kind of emotion, that's weak. So I think we need to explore what that really means to be a man. And that's a question that I think we all should ask ourselves. What does it mean to be a man? What does it mean to be a woman? And do that from a place of, again, a place of understanding that we all are different. That there's no one way to make a man, and there's not one way to make a woman. And it's definitely I was reading some of the comments. It's definitely on a spectrum and a scale as well. So to answer your question, my daughter will paint my nails sometimes. I walk around with my nails painted. I mean, that
Let her match the feet up too, honey. Don't leave the feet out, Rev G. Let her get the feet.
Nah, that's
baby
a whole
steps,
nother.
baby steps, baby steps.
You got to take baby steps. But the thing is, you got to be comfortable in your own skin.
Yes.
And I decided long ago that I was going to be comfortable in my own skin. And I raised my son. I have 3 sons. I have a 30-year-old, a 20-year-old, and then I have a daughter who's 16. And we raised them to be comfortable in their own skin.
Mm-hmm.
And we need to have more conversations like this. I don't care what. Yeah, go ahead.
No, absolutely. And you said something very integral, and somebody else said it too. That I too often say that. Hey, Lady Royale. Hey, Boo. This is my other mod, which is why most black men like emotion now. Teaching them to like emotion is a big no-no. I fully believe, because it's hard talking to heterosexual black men, because every time because I was on another panel. Shout out to One Community, and it was me and 3 other females, including this bitch is better, who is one of my boos. She's also a content creator, and there was another guy up there, and I think it was, matter of fact, it was 2 guys maybe, but nonetheless, we got into a conversation about like femininity. And this guy tried to go off on me. Of course, I completely dragged the living shit out of him. I dragged his ancestors out of retirement. I made them put in that work on that panel. But he got so fucking... I'm talking about, this guy was like murder level offended that I had the audacity to say that femininity can be conducive to a man's well-being in terms of embracing his femininity. And he just went on this whole gay agenda tangent and just missed the bullseye. And when straight black men hear these type of conversations, sometimes they keep equating femininity to orientation, which is why I keep separating and distinguishing the two, that femininity and masculinities are attributes of the way consciousness interacts with humanity's existence. Like my consciousness is a product of the polarity, and informs me about how to show up. Of course, we live in these systems religiously and socially that interfere with what comes organic to us. And then we have these identity issues and these crises and confusions about our mental body, our emotional body, especially as men, because this system, the particular system of the West, has groomed men to be emotionally unavailable, not only to other people, but emotionally unavailable to themselves. And a big prime example of that is, look at our government. It's completely patriarchal fundamentally. And so when we think about how cold and shallow the government is, and how there seems to be a lack of interest and compassion for its actual citizens, and more of an interest in self and elevation, which is why we see the richer getting richer and the poor getting poorer. And we see in these disparities because it's a predominant masculine minded system. And when we build any system that's not in alignment with the feminine principle, we're going to indirectly keep other virtues out that are necessary, like compassion, like empathy, like love, like considering something beyond yourself. This is significant. This is why Christ had to have Mary Magdalene a part of the ministry. He had to allow, because all of that represented the need for the feminine principle, that masculinity needs femininity at the table. Femininity needs masculinity at the table. Even marriage symbolically represents the divine union and collaborative effort between masc and feminine. What does the Bible says? When male and female marry in holy matrimony, they become what? One in spirit. That these things, that masculine principle and feminine principle, bring harmony. Now, in the dumbass West, we make that all about biology. We make that all about men and women, literally, and we make it something really dumb, but it's talking about something much more philosophical than...
That's why... sorry.
Go ahead. You can chime in, Pop Culture. Go ahead.
That's why I always say, like, men, particularly black men, but men in general, they build their own cages, particularly for black men, like, because, like, you know how you said, like, anytime you say to straight men, like, oh, you can get in touch with your femininity, you don't always have to be, like, super macho, they get mad, the gay agenda, and all this stuff, but then they get on Twitter complaining about how there's no spaces for men to talk to each other, and we don't have any space to, communicate, and it's so hard out here. And it's like, well, because anytime we try to do that, y'all call it gay. Y'all say, oh, you want us to be like women. Y'all don't want, I don't think straight men, particularly black straight men, want true, like emotional, like, they don't want to be true emotionally, like, free. They talk about it, but they don't be about it, because, like, they build their own cages, and then what they expect is, typically they expect the women to free them, when it's like, it's the men that have the key. Y'all could free yourselves from the cages that y'all put each other in, and you don't want no one else to leave. But and that's why they view gay men as, like, traitors. Like, you're traitors to the gender, because y'all, how dare y'all live in your truth and your femininity and masculinity. And that's just, like, that's why I be like, I love black men, but sometimes I do, like, sometimes, like, the black men, particularly straight black men, are just a lost cause, because, like, they want to have it both. You cannot, they want to be masculine and in charge and dominate and do what they want, but then they talking about, oh, no one talks to us, no one gives us space to be, vulnerable. It's like, well, you can't have both. you're gonna have to pick a side. Also, I wanted to say that you conscious about how, like, I heard you guys speak a lot about Prince, and I always feel like Prince was an anomaly. Like, Prince came out, he's a light-skinned, pretty boy who came out at a time where, not saying that it was okay, but yes, he was feminine, yes, he wore heels, but he was still, like, attracted to women. Like, and
He was an anomaly.
we ain't got another Prince in years. And the same people who love and admire Prince, talk about Prince, are the same people who hate Little Nas X. And it baffles me how it's like, it's okay for a straight man to dance in heels and paint his son to be feminine and still be desired by women. But God forbid a gay man does it and is open with it. And oh my God, what are we going to do? So I always feel like Prince was a point in time, but he is not the standard for how black men are supposed to perform in the music industry and culture. Like, we don't have a lot of, like, gay artists who have come out who are openly, let's say, openly gay. And if they do, they're typically, like, the Sam Smiths of the world, the Frank Oceans, who we know they're gay, but they're not, like, like, they're not explicit with it. They're very incognito. They're very ambiguous with it. That's why I applaud someone like a Lil Nas X, who's like, I'm gay, I like boys, I'm gonna kiss boys on my videos, and y'all gonna have to take with it, because I don't think we've kind of, like, seen, like, a black, dark skinned, like, gay man do the same things that, like, we see, like, black, dark skinned straight men do. And so that's why I, like, Prince, when people talk about Prince, it's like, he is an exception to the rule, and the rule definitely still stands, because we don't have any gay R&B singers, we don't have any gay rappers. Like, we do have gay rappers, but, like, out successful gay artists, we don't have that. Little Nas X is, probably the first in a very, very long time. There've been gay artists in the past, but, they had to hide themselves, to be successful. But, like, a gay artist who's completely out and vulnerable and doesn't care what people think and trolls the girls and boys, like, we haven't had that in a long time. So I just feel like we have to make sure that, like, we're not using a straight man to as a measurement for, how far we've come, because it's like the things that Prince did, a gay artist, an actual gay artist, could never do. But yeah.
Well, so that was definitely that was a mouth that the dice are loaded in what you just said. There is it is there's a lot of layers to that. Oh, and I do want to welcome T with Shaw. Are you there, boo?
I'm here.
Talk with Shaw.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes. Welcome to the panel, love.
Thank you.
What brings you here today?
So I recently just found your channel during the whole
Amen.
Christmas.
God bless you.
Sitting there with my family, drinking my
Mhm.
coquito, like, what is happening? And then, you know, I had to subscribe because that panel was awesome, as is this
Oh, thank
panel
you.
today. But honestly, what brought me here and why I had to tap in as soon as I got off my meeting was that I watched the interview yesterday with Storm. I thought it was great. I just didn't like the way people were so hateful and nasty in the comments. Now, to disagree with what he was saying is completely fine. You know, everybody's going to have a discourse, go back and forth in the comments. That's kind of why you want to watch something live, because you want to see the comments, you want to see what people are saying. But it was just like, he's lying, he's gay. You know, even if he's not gay, there's no Black women that would want him. It was just coming from a place of like, we have to kind of break him down because we don't feel like what he's saying is what we want him to say. And I just feel like when somebody tells you straight up, like, you ask the question, you know, are you a gay man? And he said no, then you have to take it at face value. When somebody's telling you about something so personal as their own sexuality, you have to take it as what they're saying. To sit there and go back and have other comments, especially nasty and hateful comments, after he answered honestly, was just, I don't know, I didn't like it. So I'm glad that we're able to kind of go over that today and not just leave it as it was, because it was a lot.
Well, since you are here, like, what do you think about the type of straight men that are the Storm Monroes? Like, do you also, in your own experience, see different layers of masculinity from Black men? Do you feel like
Yeah, I mean, I think that people are, you know, just different. There's no 1-2 million category that you can put somebody in. And the more comfortable you get with people, the more you get to know them, you'll understand that even the straightest of men will like really mess with like anime, or there's something like really, there's always something intricate and like special about each one of us. So to say like, oh, I don't really think the Storm Monroes of the world are really straight, it just doesn't make sense, because what's really straight and what's really gay? It's kind of like, you know, it's a spectrum. Everybody is a little different. Everybody has little different things about them, little quirks, little identifiers that just make them their own unique person. Nobody wants to go through life with everybody being exactly the same. So I really don't know why people do that anyway.
do you feel like femininity is synonymous to sexual orientation? Do you feel like just because a man has like a lot of femininity or is effeminate in some way that he is gay, or do you feel like those things can be separate from each other?
I think they have to be separate, because you really can't call it. It really takes a person, an individual, to decide for themselves, you know, what I'm attracted to, what it is that turns me on as a person. It really can't be like, oh, well, that person, you know, likes to wear weave or wigs, or they like to paint their nails, or their clothes are a little tighter than what other people would normally consider like straight. Um, because you just don't know. I mean, that could just be how they style themselves. That could just be how they want to present themselves to the world. That could just be how they want to like outwardly express themselves. It doesn't mean necessarily that they're gay. And it's not our call. That's another thing I feel like I need to say. Like, it's not our call to tell people whether or not they're gay. Like, I just don't know why people feel like that's their right to even have an opinion on that.
Wow.
Yeah, it's not appropriate to out people.
Right.
It's not appropriate to out people.
But I'm just saying, to even watch his videos and think you know someone and try to assess them in the comments when, you know, you don't even know this man.
But let me ask you this question.
I have a question.
Okay,
sorry.
I want to ask T this question first, and then you can ask next to Toya. Is so do you identify as a biological heterosexual female?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so you wouldn't be turned off even personally in your own dating rituals by a man who has any feminine tendencies? Like, could you date a man who loves his hair long, or who even like wants to add in some clips and some fusions and get it popping with his hair? Or like, what is your relationship to men and femininity? Like, how much can a man have that would still be acceptable to you? Or would you be able to love a man for all of his femininity if he had a great degree of it?
Yeah, I think so. I think that for me personally, it's more about who the person is, less how they represent to the outside world. When I was in high school, I dated a guy who was gay, openly, or not gay, openly bisexual. And me and him dated for a while, and then he ended up moving, but we just had such a cool relationship. Like, our relationship was just so cool, and it was so different, and a lot of people didn't get it. But at the same time, you know, he ended up settling with a man, and now he classifies himself as gay and not bisexual anymore, because he's found like a life partner that, you know, he's going to be gay probably for the rest of his life. And so that's what he's decided to settle on. But I just think that as people, we can connect on so many different levels versus just being, you know, gay or, you know, straight or feminine, or different little qualities that people might think are feminine or masculine. At the end of the day, we're all just humans. Like, I don't really think that has to be as important as we make it.
Right. Oh, that's beautiful. That's really, 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 really amazing. I like what Vibe said. Yes, we're all on the spectrum, and it's narrow-minded to see the world as black and white, gay or straight. I want you to ask your question to Toya before I let my boo, Ms. Hutchinson, chime in. I think you had a question for someone
Yeah,
on the panel.
yeah. My question was, and this is for everybody on the panel, and it's a silly one because I think it's a silly thing to think of. Where did this gay agenda idea come from? Like, I've been hearing about this gay agenda for several years, and I'm still looking for it. And the thing is, and I hate when people say that, because to me, what it's kind of like a microaggression uh, of homosexuality. And when I hear it, and especially I hear that a lot, unfortunately, in some of our spaces, there's a gay agenda. I'm like, I'm still looking for this agenda, and I haven't found it. So
You know what
I'm
I
just
think it
wondering.
is, Toya? I think that the system got worse for black men in a lot of ways. I think that when the crack epidemic happened and police brutality was back on the rise and welfare started becoming a thing, and fathers became separated from the households by the government and other various conditions, I think that there were sectors within the black male community that kind of developed like a coalition against the system that black men felt snuffed and suffocated within. And the backlash became a hyper protection of what black men felt was left of them, which was their masculinity. And so now, living in the era where we have LGBT people being inclusive and having representation in the world, it terrifies black men, because just like black women feel in competition in so many ways to other women, to black women, because they're also being snuffed out in this white supremacist system, black men are also like fighting for solidarity and resource and self-actualization, and they see things that make them feel like they're being more stripped and more stripped and more stripped away from themselves. I think it's a misperception on black men's part. I know that that's not what's really happening, but I know that that's
Right.
I can understand how black men can see it all as a threat. Like, they see black women becoming more independent, becoming more equal to them, being able to not necessarily just sit at the table, but black women now being capable of being the goddamn table. So black women don't need men for the same things that maybe grandma and great grandma needed a man for security, needed a man for his home, for shelter. You know,
Right.
black women have more options. They have more opportunities to leave different legacies behind, other than through marriage and and carrying children. And that terrifies Black men because once again, like Black men have already not really had an identity. So the little superficial identity that they had collectively is disintegrating before their eyes, and they're death scared, and they're taking up an issue, creating whole fucking manospheres to stop this opportunity to do some introspective work and to figure it out from the inside out. Like, Black men don't want to do that work. And that's also one of the handicaps to being on the masculine side of the spectrum, is that men don't naturally, the masculine principle doesn't necessarily deal with all of the within shit. They are a without, externalized group people, while the female principle is more introspective. It takes a deeper look into, you know, our subjective selves and what's really going on with us, and doing that inner work and raising our emotional awareness. So Black men are just struggling through. I hate that they think that Black women are against them. I hate that Black men think that the LGBT community having some visibility is a threat to their orientation, because it's not. But it's that gay agenda shit is basically straight Black men saying no more, child.
It's deflecting. I think it's deflecting.
Yeah.
It's deflection. I think.
Deflection.
Yeah, it definitely is.
And protection.
You know,
deflection and protection. They feel that they feel that something is being lost that needs to be protected, and they think that that's masculinity. They think that, because the real truth is, this system is emasculating the fuck out of Black men, but Black men keep interpreting that them being emasculated in the system as a sexual orientation conversion. And that's not the way you're being emasculated. You're being emasculated by this system pitting you up against Black women. You're being emasculated by this system enticing you with all of these, with all of this glamour that you seek to acquire through the drug selling, through all of the bullshit that Black men do to get a capital going for themselves that are detrimental to their communities. And that's how you're being emasculated, baby. Like, the system don't give a fuck about whether you're gay or straight. It ultimately just wants you to be a sheep. And it wants you to, it wants you to be white supremacy for it. So it wants you to be killing other Black men. It wants you to be oppressing other Black women. It wants you to be doing all of those things. It wants you to not be in a household. It wants you to let your baby mama issues keep you from being a effective figure in your child's life. Like, that's the real emasculating. It has nothing to do with where you're laying your dick down, if you're fucking trans women, if you're fucking other men. Like, all those things are completely irrelevant. So to me, it's just a really, it's a big miss. That
it's an excuse.
Yeah, but men are just confused. Yeah. They're confused.
I do hear Black women say it too. So yeah, thank you. I know what it meant, but I love to hear other people's definition as well. All right, thank you. I'm gonna drop down. Thank you for this lovely panel.
Thank you so much for being up here, love, and you're welcome anytime.
Hey, love.
Hey, Charles, I was about to get to you.
I just wanted to add, I think this conversation was much needed, and I hope that the conversation does not end with this live stream right here, because I feel like there's so many layers to this that I feel like this can be an ongoing conversation over and over again. Now, I was one of the people who watched, the live yesterday, and I felt like, what's really going on here? Now, I'm just going to be honest. I feel like people should be respected. And if they say that they're straight, then they're straight. I'm not going to call them something that they're not. If a person identifies as being a woman, regardless of what they were born, I'm going to give them that respect, But as women, we are also taught that we're supposed to look out for these red flags within men. You get what I'm saying? Because there are a lot of women who end up getting with men who are on the DL or whatever. And the first thing people will say is, well, how didn't you notice? You didn't notice he was doing this, or you didn't notice that was going on. You didn't notice he was a little too friendly with his buddies and things like that. So I think as women, we are always looking out for those little like warning flags, like that doesn't look normal, that's not supposed to be happening. So with somebody like Storm just coming through, and everything from what he's saying, doing, mannerisms, or whatever, to me it's all screaming gay. Let me be clear though, I don't care if he's gay or not. It's just conversation, because to me that was the first, I didn't know, it wasn't until yesterday that I knew that he was straight. So it was like breaking news, like, wow, it doesn't matter, it doesn't change his content. But I think myself and many other people had no idea that he was straight. And then the whole explaining, I just think when you spend too much time explaining why you do what you do, or how you do this there, it just didn't come across like,
But to give some
didn't
credit
seem
to
right.
that, I was asking questions that kept, like, I was asking the sexual questions, and so it wasn't like he in and of himself went on just binge of like trying to prove. So
Right.
we had a conversation that was around orientation, sextivities, likes and dislikes, and pleasure. So it was like a literal topic itself.
Right. I get it. So again, I'm glad you're having this conversation.
But I got some questions for you while you up here too.
Oh Lord.
So
Okay, I'm ready.
Why do you think we do this to men more than we do this to women? Like, have you ever thought about the fact that, like, even you as a woman, like right now, you could pull your hair back into a low bun, throw on a baggy shirt and some gym shorts and some Crocs and walk out of your house and not think much of it? Or the fact that you could, play up a boy aesthetic tomorrow and then get back to your curls and your crop top and your low hanging jeans the next day. Like, have you ever thought about, damn, what's available to Black men? Because as a woman, I can do what I want to do. I can show up how I want to show up without necessarily having to make it about my orientation or having to have myself viewed necessarily a certain way. And have you ever thought about like what that looks like for Black men in terms of their aesthetics and their mannerisms, like, and
right, which
what
is
do you think about
unfair
that?
to them, because the moment that, okay, like this one guy, I don't want to say dated, friends with benefits, let's just call it what it was. And he was very nice looking. He was very he could almost pass for, in my opinion, a model. But I also wasn't attracted to him in the way of, to me, he was too pretty for me. You know what I mean? Like, he's the type of person that's going to go to the nail shop and get his nails done, and eyebrows are perfect. I'm not really into that type of to guy, right? But even with women, they are judged too. If I sit there and have the Clio set it off cornrows and some gym shorts, and people are going to assume that I'm lesbian. I'm here on YouTube, and do you know how many times people have said they don't believe I have a husband? I've been accused of sleeping with women and messing with women. And the reason why I think mainly I've been accused of that is because I have relationships with people in the community, and that type of stuff, it doesn't bother me. I love who loves me. But people assume if you support the LGBT, you must be in the LGBT.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I think it's the same thing with women. If women cut their hair short, people assume, especially if they do like a boy cut, like an Amber Rose, people assume that they have to be lesbian or they must be suffering from cancer. So it's the same thing with women. Like, if a woman's not wearing a face, a beat face, people are looking at her like, well, why don't you wear makeup? Well, why don't you do this? So I think we do it, which is unfair. And that's why I'm so glad you're having this conversation, because I'm telling you, this could be an ongoing conversation that absolutely never, ever ends.
And that's why I wanted to have it too, alongside, you, and I'm glad you did commentary as well, because it's like, of course, the title is Storm and Roll, but Storm and Roll is like a catalyst to an entire conversation around all of this type of going zones.
Right,
And I
right.
think that it's it's definitely a conversation that's needed. Like I like I said, I feel bad for straight men, because I know like women get to be as creative as they want and get to just do what the fuck they want to. They get to flip flop. They get to be experimental. They get to do so many things and be public about it, and
Right.
without really thinking twice about it. And I know as a gay man, like I do what the fuck I want to do without having to concern myself with what people think about me and long hair and makeup or anything that I do. Like I live my life totally free. And then I look at a lot of black men, and I just feel like I look at black men feel so clogged up to me. It's just like, ugh,
Right.
y'all are literally y'all are so pitted to the back of the bus, and it's sad and it's crazy. And so Storm and Rose's existence is interesting to me, because I'm like, whether Storm and Rose is or isn't in fact bisexual, gay, and or straight, the truth is straight men like Storm and Rose actually exist. Even if people don't want to believe that
Absolutely.
Storm is straight, there are straight men like Storm who exist, and I am friends with a lot of the Storm and Rose of the world. I've been in school, and I have the Storm and Rose in my family. I have these type of straight men in my family, so it's easy for me to believe and accept Storm's proclamation to heart, because I've seen it. I've lived alongside it. I have uncles who have 50 million 11 kids and 12 ex-wives and a current wife, who are just normal guys. They're not necessarily, they're not some chest eating whatever. And some of my straight cousins, some of my straight friends also have effeminate traits. But I'm like, I have women in my life. I have uncles, I have aunties, I have female cousins and female friends who also have masculine tendencies. I have female cousins who play sports, who play ball, who are tomboys, who date men, but they feel more comfortable in boy clothing. They don't like putting on dress. They're not girly. They're not hyper feminine. They don't, they're just not into that. And so seeing all this mixture, for me, Storm and Rose is just like, of course he's straight. That's not a conflict for me in my mind, because I know those type of guys exist.
Right. Yeah, and I mean, I think it's all about respect. Like I would never go to his channel and like start commenting some crazy stuff, because if he's saying that that's who he is, then I think that should be respected. Period. Even with the trans, and that's why I also wanted to click the link to let Monica know that I try to really do my best when it comes to my trans sisters, because I feel like they are not heard. Now, of course, people like T.S. Madison, because of who she is as a name, sometimes she can be heard, but the people like, I'm gonna say Monica, I'm not saying Monica can't be heard, but more people like Monica need to have a platform to speak and be heard, because there are so many trans women who are getting attacked, even on YouTube. I see it, taking place where people call them a man in a wig, or boobs at top and whatever on the bottom, and it's so disrespectful. And I just think that we've got to love our trans sisters for who they are, respect them, and if they want to be identified as a woman, give them that respect. It doesn't take away anything from me as a woman to then call another sister a woman, even if she wasn't born that way. You know what I mean? I don't believe in them being attacked, hurt, verbally, physically, or anything. And they need more allies in the community to stand with trans sisters. So that's what I wanted to just say. I stand with my trans, well, I'm not trans, but trans sisters. I stand with them, all of them, regardless of who they are.
So I'm glad that
you, or not.
Exactly. And I'm glad you're up here, because I had mentioned earlier in the conversation, like it was even interesting that, our baby mother TS used to get a lot of heat for retaining her peace. And she used to get a lot of heat, not only just from of course, the heterosexual community, but she used to get a lot of heat from other trans women who were trying to say, well,
Right.
you aren't truly trans because
Right.
you won't undergo this gender assignment, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And so it was important for T.S. Madison to say, we're all different. I have my own relationship to my body. I have agency over this, and we're not a monolith. And I use that in conjunction to talk about like the Storm and Rose. Like I feel like y'all, Shirley, I feel like y'all should have a goddamn acronym too, because I feel like heterosexuality is just as goddamn complex and
really
freaky and multi-layered. Because I go to y'all porn section on Pornhub and see all those fetish categories for straight folk and all y'all freaking shit, baby. Y'all just as goddamn complex and colorful as the queer folk is. So I feel like there's a lot of layers to just heterosexuality. I feel like there's a lot of layers to like to masculinity and femininity, even like something like pegging. I had brought up pegging. Like there's a lot of men who like to be bonked over. They like their prostate massaged, but it's a lot of men who enjoy that from women. They don't enjoy that from men. They don't, that doesn't turn them on to think about submitting to a man or having a man do that to them, but they're into that as it relates to their female partner. So what do you think about even stuff like that? Like how even certain sexual acts are even categorized as straight and organic.
Right. Yeah, and I think for me personally, again, to me that would be like a red flag. If a man wanted me to peg him, I'd be like, okay, what's really going on here? Although I get what you're saying, some men do enjoy it, and I've actually talked about this before on my channel. A lot of women didn't know that was a thing, that straight men like that. There are like Trick Daddy spoke out and said he likes getting his salad tossed, and he's supposed to be a straight male. A lot of people see that as something is wrong here, but I think that when you are with somebody that you love and there's respect there, whatever you like, and if that person is willing to please you in that way, whatever y'all do in y'all bedroom, hey, whatever's clever. That's just how I look at it. You know what I mean?
Right.
I do want to speak on the trans and not fully being transitioned. Some people do feel that if a person does not have the whole works, the whole operation, that they shouldn't be considered to be called trans. But for me and my mind frame, I look at it as what you identify as, not so much about the surgical work. A lot of trans don't get the surgery done too, whether it be for financial reasons. Some I heard that it changes their sex. They lose a lot of with the sex organs and all that other kind of stuff. So they don't want to lose the sensation. So they rather not get it done. I've heard that as well. T.S. Madison has a way, and we've had this conversation where she feels that if a man is attracted to a trans woman, that man is straight. I used to think that a man is gay if he's attracted to a trans lady. She was saying if a man is gay, he's going to want another man, not someone that identifies as being a woman. Right. I never thought about it. And a lot of us, we don't have anyone around us to have these conversations or to understand this stuff. You get what I'm saying? So I'm learning, and as I learn, I try to teach it to other people. But as Maddie always says, just because that's the way she perceives it or her perception doesn't mean that that's the written rule. So that's another thing too. You know what I mean? So it's all on respect. And I think that a lot more men maybe would, embrace it. But I think the backlash, people say crazy stuff. So, and then you have the ones that want to out people, and that's never okay either, so.
Yeah. It's a lot with what you just said. Would you be capable of dating a trans man? Like,
no.
There are some of them trans men, I'd be like, baby, bring it on.
Yeah,
bring it on,
let me tell you, trans men, their transition, I think, is even probably better than when women transit, because you can't even, it's like you really
I think it's easier
tell.
to transition in that way aesthetically.
I personally would not do it, but that's just me. I also would not date a man that's bisexual. Again, that's just my preference.
Okay, why?
I also, why would I date a bisexual man?
Yeah.
I just don't want to be with a man that sleeps with men. I just,
why? Because it's a why you just
I just wouldn't. I mean, first of all, I already got to worry about what women he's trying to sleep with, but now I gotta worry about you looking at Bob and Ray Ray and Pookie and Boo Boo and Black and them. No, I ain't got time for that.
Y'all love thinking that bisexual men are like a rat race. Like, it's just a competition. It's just like field goal day. Like, it's just.
But most of us women probably have been with somebody who was bisexual. We just did not know it. Especially if they've been to prison before. I mean, I think after so many years in jail, they start seeing. I mean, you know, I just think they get down, you know, after a while. But for me, that's not.
So why y'all think that men don't run away from bisexual women? Because when women are open about, like, I let a girl eat the snooch in college, or, you know, I don't, you know, I've dated women, it don't run men off, but for some reason a bisexual man will run some women off.
Right. I think it doesn't run some men off, but I feel like some men like it because they can join in it and, you know, have their cake and eat it too. But when the woman ends up leaving the man for the woman, that's when it becomes a problem. It's all cool as long as the man can be involved in it. But once they decide that, okay, I just want to be with women and no longer with men, because I've seen that. I have a couple of friends who, you know, these men encourage them that they want to have threesomes and stuff, and these women have literally got turned out. Now they don't want anything to do with men, and then the men, it's like a blow to their ego. So I've seen that happen too. But I also don't want to date a light-skinned man. So
Lord have mercy.
I don't
Shelley,
like
goddamn.
I'll give him credit, but I like my man as dark. I mean, I'm telling you, as dark as I can get him. I love him dark. Yes, I'll give a light-skinned man credit, me like he's a nice looking, you know, person, but that's just not my preference, you know. That's all.
So you like tall, dark, and lovely, honey.
Right.
I ain't mad at it. So what do you think about this? I think that a lot of women who don't want to date bisexual men, I think it's because they hold a subconscious thought that if a man is with other men, they fear that he's also been a bottom and been the receiver in that relationship. Are you as a woman turned off by a man who has experienced anal sex, even if it's from other women? Would you consider a man who likes to be pegged bisexual?
Yes.
You would. Okay, why?
Because I just don't think that a straight man would be wanting to have anything inside their ass. And I'm gonna tell you how you can always know if you even touch a man too far on his ass and he don't get the jumping, you know something ain't right. You know, and I'm not saying that something ain't right, but it's just I personally, I'm just that would turn me off. It really
even
would.
Though God put a man's G-spot in his prostate, and a man can completely orgasm without even touching himself by having his prostate massaged through his anal cavity and all. Even though there's a whole science behind why men would find anal sex pleasurable, even with women, in terms of being the receiver and being pegged, you still like, hell no.
Yeah, I say no for me, but that's just me. That's just me. That's just me. That's just me.
We got to do some soul work on you, Shelly. We gonna have to progress you for.
Now, let me be honest. If I was with somebody and I really love them and that's what they wanted, then I think you do have to listen to your partner and what makes them happy. So if I'm with somebody and it's, you know, like if it's my husband and that's what he wants, because I'm never going to be with anybody else other than him, then I would compromise, because you do have to compromise in any, you know, especially a marriage on that. But I don't know. I think my mind would just be going off that he been sleeping with men. I would. I would be able to get. Although I think I would be a very good power bottom, might I say?
Okay.
But yeah, I don't know. I would be thinking that. So
okay, hold on. So let me get up into your sextivities a little bit too. Have you experienced anal sex? Do you enjoy anal sex as a woman?
As a woman, I do not. Have I done it before? I have. And I actually told this story one time. This is way too much information, but see, they're gonna do me like Storm Monroe. Now they're gonna be featuring me tomorrow, right?
And I'm gonna be saying, y'all need to keep the conversations alive about As Hutchinson, what she said on my platform, honey. Let's keep the conversations rolling.
Right. So one time, this guy, he did it right, but he didn't warn me that he was about to do that.
Ooh.
When I tell you, I flew off the bed and I was in a fetal position. And listen, something snapped. I heard something go pop. I swear to God, I thought I was gonna have to go to the hospital.
I'm not about to play with you to stop.
I thought I was gonna have to go to the hospital.
God, no.
I mean, I had real tears coming out my eyes. I was like, "Oh my God!"
Stop! Stop! Because when you said flu, have you ever seen them clips of when cats are trying to sneak up on something and then it jumps and then a cat like flies 7 feet into the damn air and shit? Like, that's what I imagined in my mind when you said you flew off the bed.
I still got
you literally flew.
Syndrome. I still got post-traumatic stress syndrome from that day. I flew across that room and something popped and you could hear it pop. I said, "Oh my." Oh.
Sis, I'm not meaning to laugh at your post-traumatic. The way you are describing this event is too much for me. Yes,
it was a mess. It really was.
What type of man? Just niggas are so gutter. Like the anus is a whole separate situation. That a vagina. You cannot just insert your penis into an anal cavity without warning your partner, for one, and for the proper lubricating methods that need to be exhausted to make that comfortable. The fact that he just did that is...
I was on all fours and I thought I was gonna have to go to that hospital and explain to them people what was going on, because I'm telling you, my life flashed before my eyes. It did. I flashed across the floor, my life flashed. I was like, "Oh my goodness." I won't pull that. Child.
Wait, but there was no actual injury though. There
was no injury.
It's so awful.
But it took me a while to get up off that floor. I was laid down on that floor. I'm serious. I really was. And child, it was bad. Like I wasn't ready. I wasn't prepared. I didn't know what was coming. And it wasn't like,
you make it sound like your asshole was hit by a speeding train.
And I could only imagine if he was bigger, you know what I'm saying? Because he wasn't huge. But if he was like really huge, I think that would have been like way worse.
Right.
So,
like,
yeah, I think,
total loss. You and Monique described it as her eyebrows burning off at the point of anal penetration.
Yeah, no, my life flashed before my eyes.
You got to be about that life for anal sex. Even as a gay man myself, I'm versed. I lost my virginity, as a bottom when I was 18, and it was the most horrific experience. I thought every porn actor lied about anal sex. Like, I did not believe that nobody was actually fucking in their ass after I had my first experience as a receiver, but then again, like, it got better, obviously, because I just didn't know what the fuck I was doing the first time that I had bottom, because it was much like your experience. My partner just kind of like ran up in there and was trying to do the most, and I'm just like, girl. Right. But I didn't know how that was supposed to go anyway, so it was just like too much. But My God,
But
thank
you know
God
what?
you're okay.
Even with straight women, let me tell you something. Even with straight women, just like you're saying, your first experience, you was like, "What the hell is going on?" My first sexual experience, I was a little bit taken back because, you know, curiosity kills the kitty cat, and you hear all of these different stories. So I was expecting to be like blown away at this magical thing called sex, and I kind of was just like, "That's what everybody's talking about." But that was just my first experience. It just wasn't the right person. You get what I'm saying? So that can happen.
I was going to say that you have to have a do-over for sure.
Right. Yeah.
You need to have it because analsexisthebomb.com. I mean, if you and your nigga, you know, like get it situated, honey, he can have that kitty going off from the anal. Kitty just explode and water falling. It's intense.
Yeah, I mean, I know a lot of men who say that they prefer anal even with with women more than they do vaginal, and I think also too, no shade, I think it's because some women are a little too loose in the goose. And I was telling the other day, you got to get that vinegar and put it in a bathtub and let it get that snap back. It'll be like a number 2 pencil. And I think that's why some men also may like to do that with women because they're just a little too stretched out. But the next time when you do this topic, I hope you have some women, like, you know, some straight women, lesbian, just a variety of everything, because this is
now I have a bisexual woman up here right now named Mrs. Oz, and she is going to speak as well. But you know, she is both handed and things, so I'm gonna get her perspective too. But
and I'm gonna hop down. But
you and I need to hit me back on Instagram. We need to plan a show and put a show together. And
I'm so proud of you, boo. You are doing the damn thing. You are taking this grown content and grown conversation to a whole nother level. And I see you getting a check mark beside your name very fast, because I think your channel is about to, when I say blow up, if you keep these type of conversations going like you've been doing, child, you're gonna need a whole manager, okay?
Whole manager. Right. Well, I'm gonna be asking for your application, honey, because you came up here and got my mics together, value. I said, child, put in your application and such and such. So yes, I want to do something. I totally receive it. Thank you so much for the support, and let's really put together a show. Like I really want to do that. Like that'd be dope.
I'm looking forward to it. And thank you to everybody on the panel for giving me time to talk. And I'm gonna go back down here in the chat room. And you know they got mad last time. They said I was dry begging for you, but make sure y'all hit up that Cash App at $Consciouztv.
Period.
And
make sure it right now.
The panel and the platform going. Okay.
Yes. Okay.
All right. I'll be in the chat. Bye, boo.
Bye bye. Mrs. Oz, I know you have been waiting a day and a year, honey, to chime in. I'm so sorry for the wait. What do you have to say about
the conversation? First off, last night it was too good. It was too good.
Thank you.
As a bisexual woman who is married to a man who's in touch with his feminine side, I got a lot to say on a whole bunch of stuff. I don't even know where to start at this particular point. But y'all, I wanted to say this.
Like double Dutch.
Oh, listen, to all of my gay male friends, I do feel sorry for y'all. Say this, you know, told me to hush. I'm gonna say it anyway. I feel sorry.
Oh my God, your phone is breaking up so bad.
Oh Lord.
It's like a mechanical robotic sound. It's still doing it. I can only hear like sounds, but not words.
Good Lord, they hate me. Okay,
I know you're speaking, but what you're saying is not coming through.
It still ain't coming through. Okay, hold on. Let me see if I can go out and come back in and fix it.
Okay. Henry, are you there? I know you I think you have yourself on mute, Henry. Oz is gonna go out and come back in. Are you there, Henry?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm just with my child.
Yes, it sounds like y'all are at the playground somewhere.
Yeah, she's driving her little mini car right now. I don't know if you can hear her.
Get it, honey.
She got a mini BMX, DMX, whatever you call them, BMW. No, this is a Benz. Excuse me.
So what are you thinking so far? A lot has been discussed over the past 2 hours.
I think it's absolutely wonderful. I think, you know, like I said, these are conversations that need to be had, and I just wish the more, you know, cis heterosexual men were having these conversations with each other. Of
course she is.
I really appreciated that older gentleman that was talking about how he, you know what I mean, like he might have purple nails,
yes,
you know, but that's just him, and he's an old school gentleman, and I just really appreciated that, because a lot of times we learn from those old school gentlemen, you know what I'm saying? Because they were the ones that were out here all flamboyant and having perms and all kind of stuff, you know what I mean? So, you know, I definitely appreciated that. But,
so
you know,
how do you think that men can have more of these conversations amongst us? How can more? Because it seems like you guys are going to have to do the initiating amongst each other of kind of talking about emotional security, you know, like self-confidence as a man, and the necessity to be connected to one's femininity.
I think basically just by, number one, you having these conversations, and then us black men who do live in our truths just not being afraid of it. I can't leave it in the car, in the road.
You're trying to zoom in, honey. I'm gonna tell you something, Henry. I was watching. I'm gonna go ahead and say it. There's a porn star who I'm trying to bring onto the platform. And his name is King Noor.
Okay.
And he's been on the scene for a minute, and I recently became aware that he has started. Now he's a heterosexual porn star, but he's recently started doing scenes with trans women, and with pre-op trans women, or women who still have their piece. And not only is he like doing these scenes with them, but he's going as far as to even like interacting with the penis, sucking on the penis, and it blew my brain cells. I was like, oh, I have got to talk to this man. Like, how did you do this to your, like, how did you?
Shawn Michaels is doing the same thing.
Okay, so that's what I was going to bring him up too, because he's another straight actor who has transitioned into also being inclusive of trans adult stars. But the thing with Shawn, though, is that if you notice, Shawn doesn't deal at all with the piece. He don't touch it. He don't interact with it. He don't nothing.
Yeah, no, he doesn't.
Yeah. But King Noor, he really gets into the business.
That's right.
He did King Noor some YouTubers had him on to a platform not too long ago, and he was talking about pretty much how he just like decolonized his brain, and he had to really do the work as it relates to perceiving like trans women as women. And he literally, you know, like the audience grew just versus the things he had to unteach himself in order to evolve and to expand his thinking, his comfortability around his own orientation. And I was like, God damn it, this is so unique. And
is this a conversation that he's actually had?
Huh?
Is this a conversation that he's actually had?
Yeah, he had it on YouTube. It's a YouTube video up of him on a panel. I guess there's a group that had come to a discussion about the trans thing, and he, you know, had a whole conversation about just, you know, how he was able to transition into that, and how he sees trans women and decolonizing his mind. And he's also a father. He's a fiance. And it was just so interesting to hear a straight man who had did that kind of work on himself, and was really like walking his talk and talking his walk, and reflecting that on a very public level, like through his adult films. And I was just like, and then he's a Black woman as a wife. I'm just like, I need to talk to you both. Like, how do y'all have this open relationship? It works for you guys. They both are adult film stars, and then y'all are cultivating a family, and your man has decolonized his mind, and you witness it, and I can see that shit so people. It's so mind-boggling. I just am attracted to people who get into their brain, unpack beliefs and unpack ideas and understand that most of the shit that we're harboring around in ourselves is just thoughts and ideas just reinforced through cultural norms or religious norms or repetitious thinking and repetitious reinforcement. And so when I find people who kind of like break the matrix and crack the ceiling, it just turns me on because it makes me look at myself as just a vehicle of thought, and I can move these thoughts around at my own discretion. I can get rid of shit. I can include shit. I can reduce shit. I can amplify shit. I can introduce new stimulation into my psyche, and it's just really interesting to be fully aware that you have that much attention and authority over the world. The world is really that subjective that you can rearrange all of this shit the way you want to. You can rearrange the entire way you see a thing at will, just because you can.
Yeah.
Like the level of freedom to be able to, you know, to just change sex was so powerful and inspiring because so many of us are just without even questioning it, without never seeing it. We're just kind of going along with the system. That's probably why movies like The Matrix were so powerful because it dealt with that dilemma of like red pill, blue pill. And participate in what you've been given, or are you going to go see the Oz on the yellow brick road and really put a cut on that? And really, are you willing to, or are you willing to create it hell even?
Can you hear me?
Is that you, Oz?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm gonna mute your phone a really quick hearing.
Okay, yeah, that's cool.
Stay right there.
Okay, yeah, that's cool.
Okay, Miss Oz, are you back?
I'm back.
Okay, go ahead,
Can
Bill.
you hear me? Is this better? Okay, got
yes.
you. Okay. There we go. Now, first, what I'm going to say to all my sisters in the chat, because I was unaware that so many people did not know I was bisexual. I kind of thought that it was just obvious in the way that I acted, but I guess not. So, surprise, everybody. There you go. I like the kitty.
Yes.
The apology I was making to all my gay brothers is that y'all will never know the pleasure of having a peen in your puss and your ass at the
Father God.
It's a wonderful feeling.
It is, man. That double penetration life, honey. Everything plugged up.
But I was gonna say, because I saw some people in the comments that kept on referring to my husband as I see you, and I was just gonna let everybody know this man ain't got to be in the closet, because I done gave him the ability to tell me whatever his little freaky ass fantasies are, and I will fulfill them. So it really don't matter what he wants. If he came to me and told me he wanted some other dude in the room, that's what it would be. I wouldn't have a problem with it. But that ain't what he wants. He's just he is very in touch with his feminine side, which, to tell you the truth, a whole bunch of you overly masculine men need to pick up some pointers from him, because this man been in too much cooch, way too much. And part of it is because of the fact that he's so sensitive that girls like to put their heads on his shoulder and start talking to him. And then the next thing you know, their panties are sliding down. So for all those men that think it's so, you need to be all overly masculine to attract a woman, but y'all are waiting months and months to get into the draws, and this nigga's getting into the draws the very same day he talks to some helper.
Immediately.
Do you hear me? Y'all need to pick up some pointers on that.
The men who be in touch with their feminine side be the ones having the most swag and the most game and the most suave.
Absolutely.
Like, the ones who be seamless with shit.
Because they know who they are. That's the thing I wanted to
they are
say.
in touch with their own femininity. They know how to move through a woman's femininity. Like, it makes it easier to appeal to a woman because you're in touch with your own femininity too. Like that, you're able to Bluetooth and that shit to understand the psychology and how to navigate the psychology of women. You're in, like, before we had went live, me and Henry, a spirit, we was just talking and he was like, I feel like gay men are like gatekeepers between the polarity of mask and femme. Like, y'all are a perfect hybrid because y'all, even with like gay women are gatekeepers too, are bisexual men, because the pendulum swings from left to right. You understand both lanes and both brains, both consciousnesses. So you're able to, so just the ability to do that. And of course, in the context of being a player, honey, you could be a bad mama jamma as a man when you in touch with all that shit. You know how to work with, you know how to work women. And the same thing for men. I mean, for lesbian or bisexual women, they know how to work a man ass.
And that's what I was going to say. I am a very masculine woman. It's just the way I've always been. I've never been the kiki foo dress wearing girl. That has never been me. I've always been that girl that's hanging out with all the dudes. Those are my friends. Those are my closest friends. I'm closer to them than I am to any female. So any female who was my friend was really just my friend trying to get at the dudes I was hanging out with. Because I'm constantly hooking up the girls with the guys that I'm hanging out with. And so I always had dudes. There was a lot of guys who thought I was a flat out lesbian. They didn't think that I was into dudes at all because of how masculine I was. But I don't really identify as bi either. I just identify as me. I'm Delicia. That's who I am. I understand that I embody both masculine and feminine in me. I'm both already. I don't have to surrender to either side of that. I can be right in the middle, and it does make it easier for me to. It makes it easier.
I'm just mixed. I am what I am.
There you go. I like what I like. Today I might like a man more. Tomorrow I might like a woman more. Maybe I want both at the same time. That's me. It's whatever. But I'm not attracted to people by their gender either. I'm attracted to people by the energy and the vibe that they give off.
So you sound like you are really more on the pansexual side. Like, it's about a chemistry and connection.
Yes.
And all of that.
If you can't interest me mentally and keep me focused on you mentally, and you can't emotionally, you seem to be completely and totally cut off, and your vibe is just low vibrating, I'm not gonna want nothing to do with you. I don't care if you could be the finest thing on the planet. I'm not gonna be interested. And everybody else could think you're a duck, but if the vibe that I'm getting off of you is just everything, I don't care what other people think you look like. To me, you're going to be attractive. So
exactly. So to that point, gosh, it was right there on my head. I was going to say something to what you said. You said something that was really, really, really good. God damn it. It's right there. Being you, who you are. Oh, I was gonna say, I for real wholeheartedly believe that the original orientation of humanity was not necessarily supposed to be hetero or homo. I think it was actually pan. I think pansexuality was actually the intended orientation for humanity.
I could believe that because
we were supposed to initially form relationships not based upon sex, but based upon connection and chemistry and compatibility and that chemistry.
Oh yeah.
I feel like maybe the world is really fucked up and upside down when it comes to relationships. It's because we've made relationships about things that just don't matter, like biology. I mean, outside of like obviously men procreating, women procreating, and where those biological features come into play at, I feel like just overall, generally speaking, like we were never supposed to like train ourselves or necessarily supposed to create systems that reinforce a lesion to one over the other, but just like be human, see humanity in other human beings, and then connect with that in a way that's just authentic for you. And if that happens to be with somebody of the same sex, so be it. If it happens to be with somebody of the opposite sex, so be it. But I feel like it makes more sense to encourage people to be attracted to just people's humanity and who they are. And I think if we do that, not only can we eliminate a lot of the confusion and complexity around sexuality that doesn't have to be a thing of confusion, but we also can destroy a lot of these other superficial systems that get in the way of how we choose our partners, like people who are disabled, who have a hard time in the dating scene. If we actually removed all of these superficialities from it and actually made it about connecting to other human beings, every human being could get fed emotionally and romantically and intimately in a system that's without a strong emphasis on things like sex and or social constructs around whatever is considered beautiful and or disabilities and handicaps, etc. Like, and that'll be a lot of work, especially for this particular system to do, because we're in the West and we are like the Sodom and Gomorrah of the world.
God, yeah.
So we have we're very
at
addicted.
programming.
Yes, we have a very
Terrible.
strong program that would take a lot of mental unraveling and untangling to get there. But I do think that that's the original state of humanity is pansexuality. I do.
I'll take you a step further with that, because I can go with that 100% and also believe that the original person was not merely Adam, but Adam and Eve together in one body as a hermaphrodite, both sexes, and then God separated the two to make two people. But even then, I feel like us getting kicked out of the Garden of Eden is all of this bull crap that we have to deal with right now. This is what it is. We put all of these limitations on us, and that's what they are. They're limitations. You're allowing society to limit who you can love, who you can be with, who you can be your damn self, because they're telling you in order for you to be this, you have to fit into this box right here. And anything outside of this box, then you aren't what you say you are. You're something totally different. And we're going to categorize you as something different, and we're going to treat you as something different. What the hell? What is the problem with all of us? I don't understand why any of us keep falling into this bullcrap in the first place. Do you know how easier high school would have been for every single one of us if none of us had this damn bullcrap going on in our lives, thinking that we had to be this or we had to be that to be accepted to something? We would have all had much happier childhood. Seriously, all the programming started with us in childhood and other adults telling us, you can't do this. You can't say that. Oh, if you're going to be a lady, you can't always be walking around in pants like that. You have to wear dresses and skirts. You can't do this. If you're a boy, you have to wear pants. You can't wear dresses and skirts. All of this bull crap. All of it just based off of what we see, what we want to, what is aesthetically pleasing to us, and trying to force other people to please what we want. We find this aesthetically pleasing, so you have to do this to please us.
Right. And
it's stupid.
And like even the aesthetics, like it's just like our aesthetics are a result of whatever the West decided was the aesthetics. Because when you look at other cultures, if you look at Islam, like if you look at other indigenous communities around the world, like if you were born into those systems, your perception would be informed by those standards.
Right.
Like and that's why I always try to have these challenging conversations about like explore your mind, and because you will really realize how huge the program is, and that even some of the things that we feel comes natural to us is really not us. It's the program, and it's generations of reinforcement. It's repetitious brain control through media and symbolism and music and sounds and illustrations. You're constantly being indoctrinated to the point that of course you feel like this comes natural to you, and it doesn't. It's just a very strong social programming that you're operating in. And so
starts as soon as they figure you're able to understand it. That's when the programming starts. That's when the programming starts. 4-year-old
Your phone is
grandchildren here.
breaking up against us. It's breaking up against Boo.
Is that better?
No, it's still it's doing that robotic thing again. I can hear sounds, but I can't make out a word that you're saying. No, I hear the sound, so I know you said something, but it's still doing a robotic thing. You might have to come back in. Or go back out and come back in again. No, it's still doing the same thing. Henry, are you there? Because I wanted to ask you about the pansexual idea. Can you hear me, Henry? I know Spirit was at the playground with the daughter. If you're there, Henry, you might have to unmute yourself because you are on mute. Are you there? Okay, I don't know where the hell Henry is. We're waiting for Mrs. Oz to come back in, and then we're going to wrap up the show because I do have another interview, but that's going to be pre-recorded. Mrs. Oz?
Yes.
Okay, I can hear you now.
Okay. The indoctrination begins as soon as you can comprehend something. As soon as children are able to comprehend, that's when they start pushing it. It's in the TV and how they have children interacting with each other on TV and children's programming, all of it. I have two 4-year-olds here right now. They don't know nothing about who they're supposed to be attracted to or why they're supposed to be attracted to them. All they know is if they like you, they like you. If they don't, they don't. That's all they know. That's it. They're just going off of vibration and feeling, and that's it. And that's what all of us should be operating off of instead of all these other things that society tells us we're supposed to be operating off of.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. No, absolutely.
I fully intend for my grandkids to understand that they're allowed to love whoever the hell they want to love.
Yes, it's all love.
That's it.
And it's just a look. I know that certainly I had to have had a life during the hippie era because I have a lot of hippie tendencies. I definitely be on that one love, just like connect to nature. We all one type shit. Like stop. Like it's just too deep for no reason. It causes problems. I ain't got to be issues. It's just unnecessary. Like it's all about love, and I think it's funny when people say that, like, oh, love can conquer everything. Distance, time, it's cross-continental. It transcends ethnicity, and yet sometimes we stop when it comes to sexuality or stop when it comes to gender. Baby, love is going to. It's a comma.
How can it do all of that?
Comma.
Yes, it can do all of that, but it can't transcend the sexuality part. It can't transcend gender.
Right.
You just made love weak as hell. Yeah, you just made love weak as hell by that one thing, saying that. Yes. Oh, no, it can't cross over that. Okay, well, love is weak as fuck then. I don't think it can stop nothing.
Exactly.
If that's the case.
Honesty and transparency.
That's not the love.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't see all of that. And I've had I think my life has been a lot better because of that, because I haven't been able to allow people to tell me who it is I am and am not supposed to love. Because even in the constructs of your family, I got 2 parents. And if I listen to society, no matter what the hell my parents do, I'm supposed to still have a certain relationship with them. But hell to the no. I learned exactly who my parents were once I became an adult and I was able to recognize that vibration off of them. I cut them out of my life because they were toxic. And just because God used them as the vessel to bring me into this world didn't mean that he thought I was supposed to be tied to them permanently. It doesn't mean that. So I'm good. I've realized through my life that your blood family ain't always the family you're meant to be with. Sometimes you find your family elsewhere. That's
Child,
it.
you are hitting it. I realize that all of this shit is social constructing. Like, all of it is, like, even family. Like, to me, I make distinctions. There's a difference between relatives and family.
Yes.
Family is who you are connected to by blood. Relatives are who you are connected to by blood. Family is who you're connected to by love. Blood is thicker than water, but love is thicker than blood. So I make distinctions. Like, so I would cut a bitch off too. I don't give a damn if our DNA got us close. That's about as close as we
There
gonna
you
be,
go.
baby. Is in DNA.
Exactly.
Okay.
That's it. That's it.
That's about the most intimate we gonna be, bro.
Right. You related, but you ain't my family. I'm good.
Right. Like, so, and, you know, and it's powerful, and that's why knowledge is powerful. And just sitting back inside of yourself and just really asking yourself, like, just exploring your own thinking process. That's what being introspective is all about. Just sit back and think about your own thinking. This actually is what the Greek and Hebrew is for repentance, is a metanoia, and it means to think about what you think about, to not just assume that you are your thoughts, but almost observe what you also are thinking. Don't necessarily identify per se with your beliefs. Observe your beliefs. Observe your psychology. Observe yourself. This is really what puts you behind the wheel of your own mind, is by understanding that you're not necessarily the thoughts you think. You're not necessarily the impulses you think, and this puts you back behind the wheel of being the creator of your life and being able to redesign yourself, being able to be reborn again. Even to this is you have to be able to separate and under, like, when I was going through, I was dealing with a lot of PSD the first time that I had separated from my narcissistic ex, and I went through a lot of PTSD for months, and I would just, like, it would just be brought on. Like, I could just be having a normal day, and all of a sudden I would just start experiencing these, like, really egregious flashbacks in my mind, and I would be having whole conversations as if the scene was actually there. Like I had them psychically Bluetooth into this event and was experiencing it all over again. And those type of moments existed for months, until one day I was in the shower, and I had went into a lot of prayer at this point, about just really seeking divine assistance. Like, I didn't know how to deal with this, or really what this was. And then I was in a shower one day, and God literally said to me, you could free yourself if you would understand that you're not your thoughts. And I never even quite had thought about it or internalized it in that way until God has spoke to me. And then in that moment, it's like all these light bulbs went off, and I was like, oh my God, I'm experiencing this PTSD largely in part because I am so under the belief that I am what's in my mind, that my thoughts are me, and it's not. And I can allow these thoughts to drift over me rather than to reside over my home and economy. That I can that I don't actually have to be married to a thought just because it comes into my mind. I don't actually have to engage a memory. I don't have to actually invest in something that's showing up in my psychic atmosphere. And me, like, when God said that shit, literally, I never experienced PTSD ever after that moment. Like, anytime I would start to feel that memory trying to create itself, that event, I wouldn't even engage it. I would just I would start slowly thinking about something else. I would distract myself subtly. And that memory that was trying to form wouldn't take complete shape, and then it would totally dissipate, and then I would forget that it even tried to show up, and then it just stopped showing up altogether. The more that I was able to recognize when it was on its onset, and then not engage the memory once I saw it in its inception, because that's the key to really dismantling PTSD, is through powerful self-awareness and mental discipline, and catching it before it becomes a whole-on event in yourself, catching it right in its, because and people know what I'm talking about. People literally say all the time, like, you literally see people working themselves up as they are engaging a thought, and they're just becoming more vacuumed. It started off as just a little faint memory, a faint thought. And then, because you think you have to engage the thought, you then start engaging it, and then before you know it,
you're reliving the
whole fucking marijuana. You done blew your whole buzz. You done blew your whole mood. Now you a whole raging bitch because you done allowed yourself to engage this thing fully. And so the key, once again, is when you catch that memory, that event starting, because it always has a start. It never just like pops up and just like it just shows up fully. It starts constructing itself in subtle ways, and then as you continue to look at it, it continues to build upon itself. So the key is, when you see it faintly in your inner atmosphere, that's when you want to start immediately to start distancing yourself from the event. But do it subtly. No aggressive.
I'll talk to myself out loud.
Yes.
I will have a full-on conversation with myself out loud. If I feel myself starting to drift to the left on anything, I'll say, oh, no, bitch, we ain't got time for this. We ain't got time for this, bitch. Pull it back together.
Yes.
We do not. I used to fall into that place. Oh, my God. And you just live in it. It's a depression, and you'll just live in it.
Yes.
And it overtakes you, and it turns into a tangible thing where you could literally feel it on you. And feel it weighing itself down on you heavier and heavier all the time. And the more, if you don't snap out of it, it gets to a point where you see it and you want to get it off you, but you can't.
Yes.
You can't.
Yes.
It just has become too heavy.
And see, this is even to what Miss P says, who apparently is my future wife, honey. Logic over emotions all day with love. It may be tough, but it's the way. That's the way that it is with me. What's powerful about that is that this statement right here is what I'm even talking. That's what I'm talking about when I talk about the marriage between masculine and feminine principle. This is why women and men need to be connected to both their emotional body and their mental body, because when we're doing that emotional shit too much and it's getting the best of us, our masculinity is what saves us from toxic femininity within ourselves. Toxic femininity is literally the emotional ruminating of trauma, the emotional ruminating of sadness, the emotional ruminating of heartbreak, of frustration, and the inability to bop back to the surface. What your saving grace is your masculinity. Your masculinity is going to be your logic, the data. Those are like your first responders when your emotional body is in a state of chaos. The same thing in reverse, when you're too detached and you're all mind and you're all mental and you're all systems and you're all math and you have no emotional receptivity, you have no emotional awareness or availability, and it's too robotic, and you're not able to experience that emotional body. You need the first responders of your emotional body to recalibrate you and save you from your mind, because both become toxic if you exist solely in either one. You need your masculinity, aka your mind. You need your femininity, aka your intuition and your emotional body. And I believe this is what Jesus meant when he said man can't live off bread alone. Or even when Jesus took Peter out onto the waters and Peter was like, hell no, it's no fish out there this time of day. I'm the G of this fisherman shit. I know that the waters are pressed and on pause right now, so we don't need to go out there and fish for no and fish for no fish. And Yahshua was just like, my nigga, just trust me just a little bit. And he took Peter out there on the waters at a time of day that Peter was just convinced ain't no fish out here. So Peter did what he traditionally knew to do, and he represented the masculine mind. He casted his net to the left. And we all know that metaphysically speaking, or even scientifically speaking, the left hemisphere of the brain is what is said to be responsible for our logic, our rationale. It's the mathematical, scientific part of our brain. It's considered the masculine mind, the left hemisphere. Peter casted his net to the left. He didn't get anything. And then he turned to Yahshua and said, see, I told you, my nigga, it's no fish out here. Yahshua said, Peter, cast your net to the right of the boat. See, this was metaphysical language being spoken to and spoken about in kind of like this parable, this fable, this situation. And when Peter casted his net to the right of the boat, there was fish plentiful. Peter casting his net to the right represented like it represented the balance and necessity for being able to access both
sides.
states. Yeah, both polarities of the mind, that you can't solely exist, and sometimes you're not able to experience possibility and experience a new pattern, or you're not able to discover anything new because you're locked into one way of existing. You're locked into only showing up in a left brain scientific approach, and therefore you think God doesn't exist, or miracles don't exist, for example, or you don't believe love exists anymore because you've allowed the science in your brain to say women ain't shit, men ain't shit. My experiences keep saying that love don't work for me. I'm going to give up because the data says this doesn't work for me. And then because you exist solely in the data, now you can't even experience the possibility of a healthy, functional, loving relationship because you've allowed one part of you to inform you solely. And your job as a human being is to keep swinging between the two. Like, you need data, you need your intuition, you need possibility, you need hope, but you also need the reality. And you can exist within both. I can understand, like, let's say I come down with cancer right now. That's the data. The data says I have cancer. Okay, so now I need to go be proactive. I'm going to go consult with my doctors, my nutritionist, my witch doctor, honey, get an old nasty piece of root consultation on what to do. I'm going to do what I got to do. But also, even though the data says I have this cancer, hypothetically speaking, that's not an excuse to not also have faith and hope that I can be cancer free, or that I can be absolved from this burden. And if I don't entertain the possibility of being free, it's for sure that I never will be from cancer. For sure.
For sure. Because you have made the choice to live in it and accept it. Right. So, and here I'll give you this. Exactly that way. And this isn't even just a hypothetical. The data says I am not supposed to walk. That's what the data says medically. I have no muscle, no joint. I have a bone and a bone. That's on my leg. And according to them doctors, I was never supposed to walk again, but I walked right out the hospital because I told them I'm going to walk. I've got children I have to take care of and a husband I got to take care of. I don't have time to be in no wheelchair or be no gimp. I don't have time for it. So I told them what I was going to do and I did it. It's just that simple. I know it seems hard, and there's always stuff around the outside of us trying to prevent us from accomplishing that. There's been a lot of other things that I have said I'm going to do that I haven't been able to accomplish because unfortunately I let the outside stuff tell me, nope, it ain't happening for you. It ain't going to happen. We said it ain't going to happen. And I allowed myself to suck that belief in, and it puts me stuck in a place where I don't want to be.
Yes.
But that one particular thing, as far as it went with the leg, that was one thing where I told him, nope, ain't got time for that. I can't be in a wheelchair and have 6 kids running around me all damn day. I'm going to lose my mind. That ain't happening.
This is why Jesus, and see, like, this is why what Jesus was teaching to the people was so powerful, because, you know, he kept, and this why when Jesus kept saying to the people he would heal or help to assist in healing, he would say, it's your faith that makes you whole. The reason why we get locked into our handicaps, we get locked into our circumstances, we get locked into is because what we don't realize it is that by solely existing in the left side of the brain and so-called accepting reality, we are accepting our condition, accepting our circumstances. And so Jesus kept asking every sick person, whether it was somebody suffering from leprosy, whether it was a blind man, a deaf man, was, do you have faith? It's your faith that makes you whole. Cast your net to the right of the boat. You have to be able to let go of the data if you want to recreate the reality. If you have chosen to believe the reality presented to you, then we cannot alter the reality that you desire. So now you have to do the work to let go of the data. And you can do that through the power of faith, the power of possibility, the power of the opposite of what is. Cast your net to the right of the boat. Let go of what your doctor said. Let go of the diagnosis. Let go of what your eyes see when it looks at your body. Let go of what your eyes translate when it looks at your leg or looks at your stomach or looks at wherever the incision, wherever the injury is, wherever the whatever is, like, and that's hard for us to do because we are so ran by our ego. So I understand why faith that can actually move mountains is difficult for a lot of human beings because we are conditioned to be rational. We're conditioned to be logical. This also can conflict with faith in the miraculous and the supernatural ability to rearrange anything that becomes a reality. Everything that happens to us is a code, whether it's cancer, whether it's sickle cell, whether it's the loss of a limb, whether it's anything, that there's codes within all reality. Once again, that whole pixelated conversation I was having, that your reality, every situation is made up of pixels. The way you see a thing. This is why the Bible says a man is what he think of. The way you see a thing is your cheat code and it's the control settings of your reality. The way you think about a thing. If you think about a thing in a way that's injurious to you, it will injure you. This is why we even have medical data that talks about, the difference between patients who have positive belief systems who are able to self-heal at a 30% rate than those who have a pessimistic attitude, because your attitude alone impacts your anatomy, your biology, your neurology. It literally impacts your atoms, your protons, your neurons, all the shit that we're all made up of. And so it's a really powerful. I don't even know how the hell we got from sexuality and gender identity to a damn faith-based walk on water, heal the sick, you are no longer blind ass conversation, but that's
it is beautiful. It is beautiful.
It mind over matter, literally mind over matter. Literally, Lady Arroyo. But I do have to get out of here, you guys, because I do have an interview that I have to do. I was supposed to do it after like 30 minutes ago. So I got to get out of here. Mr. Oz, Mrs. Oz, do you guys have any remaining words before we head?
He just had to step out for a minute.
Okay.
He had to just step out for a second, but I'm gonna say that you definitely gonna have to have another show at night.
Yes.
So bedroom counseling for you.
You know what? I might have to make a whole thing out of Mr. Nasty Time altogether. Like, I just might have to get into some teams. We already got a help desk thing that I designated for Sundays in case we get people who want advice and want perspective and opinion about things they're dealing with, maybe in their faith, in their marriage, just in themselves. Once again, help desk is for anybody who wants feedback from myself and wants feedback from Conscious Crew members. You can email me at consciouztv@gmail.com. Tell me your situation, and we can set up a time. It'll always be on Sundays at 8 o'clock, and I can put you in a slot, and you can come up here, and we can get into your situation, and then you can get feedback and get some support and some perspective about whatever it is that you may be dealing with. So that's help desk with the Mystic, 8 p.m. on Sundays, and I do it based upon whoever submits a situation and wants to do kind of like a group therapy like session that's publicized and in this particular forum. And because I got a lot of grown folk who like to talk about a lot of grown folk things, her name is Monica, came up here talking about she like toes and feet and all type of science. So Mr. Nasty Time segment might need to be a running theme on the platform. I got a lot of things to create, but yes, you are right. I want to thank you for coming up here, Mr. and Mrs. Oz. You guys have like you guys' relationship is also the epitome of like what I be talking about, where you can be a man in touch with your femme, and you can be a woman in touch with your mask, and it has nothing to do with nothing, and actually can be very complimentary to a relationship. Of course, it can be a struggle too, because we're not conditioned to be complete in this way. So, you know, if you are complete in this way, yes, if you are complete in this way, it could be a lot of work to make it work, but it's supposed to work, because that is the way. That is the way. Yes.
It all takes for people not to give up so quickly. That's all.
Yes, for sure. Well, thank you for your time. Also I gotta call you on the back end because I want to talk to you about your products, because I have been using them faithfully and I would love to highlight them, but I know you know initially you just like to say, yeah, so we'll talk. So I'm gonna call you I'll call you on the back end and everything, probably later on tonight once I get done with this next interview and all this kind of stuff. And
are you going live on someone else's channel?
No, this is gonna be pre-recorded, so this is something that I will be posting later on in the week, or whatnot. So and then I gotta watch Reading Things My Way, because I was live with Storm when Reading Things My Way was playing out. So I gotta catch up and do my review for Reading Things My Way. So I got a lot of shit to do. And
that's real good. You're gonna love that.
Yeah, I know.
I can't wait to hear your commentary on that.
I can't wait to get into it. I'm excited. So yes, I'm gonna clear my day up and continue to get to work or whatever. But thank you for coming up here. I love you so much, and I would definitely call you tonight.
Okay. You have a blessed day, my brother, and we love you.
Oh, you too, love. I love you as well.
You got it.
That wraps up the show, you guys. This was amazing. Thank you to everyone who came up. Shout out to my boo S. Hutchison. And shout out to all of the other viewers. Shout out to the Storm Chasers. Of course, like I said, we will use situations to have a deeper conversation. So I don't give a damn who name y'all see in a title. More than likely, it's always a conversation that's about it's always just a catalyst. It's a way into another conversation to have amongst us. I think it's valuable. And since so many people had a interest in his sexuality, it was an opportunity to speak about Black men's sexuality, why the Black community views Black men's sexuality the way that they do, and all the ways in which Black men are limited in their expression of femininity and or their orientation, and just get into all of that, because these are significant conversations, and I'm so glad that so many of you appreciated it. There's a lot of y'all who are new to the platform, so y'all don't know how the fuck we get down. Y'all don't know the way we gel and our system of doing things over here. But yeah, just as a FYI, that's what we do. If there are things playing out that I think can make for a great conversation, then that's what we do. We make for a great conversation. So I love you all. I have work to do. Thank you all who've been donating as well. Let me shout out to those who had hit the Cash App yesterday. Some of you guys really enjoyed me and Storm's exchange, and I really enjoy him. Such a fun guy, so open and transparent, and it was just hilarious. And once again, please make sure that if you are wanting to be mentored and have success on YouTube, get your ass into Storm's mentorship program. You cannot afford to miss out on information that can make your situation better. Okay. I'm gonna have my ass in that program my damn self because you know, bitch, I want all the mentors, baby. I want all the knowledge, baby. I want all the secrets, baby. I want it all, bitch. Like 2022, I'm not giving myself no excuse to lose. It's on some win, build type shit. Like I'm just here to get it. And once again, we're gonna do it all here. We cut a fool, we talk shit. We get into the things of the things of the things. We get deep. We get complex. We peel back layers. You just gonna get all that, baby, okay? The channel is a wild card. The channel, we entertain, we inform, we do it all. We help, we assist. All of that. It's all of that and all of that and all of that and all of that is what the CTV platform is. I want to shout out to Troy. Thank you so much for your cash donation, my brother. Thank you to Kenrika. Thank you so much, boo. God bless you. God bless you, Alexis Williams, for your cash app. Thank you so much. Michelle Handy, thank you, boo, for your cash app. Decora, Allison, Simone, Bessie, Marilyn, Tawana, Mrs. Green, Mrs. Henderson, Hardy, Gomez, thank you all. Kenny, Miss Parker, Sonia, Abby. Okay, I think some of these cash apps is actually from my Christmas show. Okay, so shout out to all of you guys. Like, thank you so much for your love and appreciation. Y'all know that the channel is not monetized because I like to play music. I like to cuss like a sailor. My intro music is always like feeling myself and all that kind of shit. So all of the Google accents would run to these record labels who have copyright over the music I play and shit any fucking way. So, and I like those elements of my channel. So I've chosen to sacrifice getting a Google's accents check just for the sake of just being able to just really do what the fuck I want to do on my platform. So you guys' donation, it means a lot. And thank you so much for them. It's something that you don't have to do, but you do. And you see value in the work. And that also motivates me to just keep on motherfucking going. I also shout out to my motherfucking patrons. I love you guys to death. Let me get out of here, get back to work. Hope you guys have a wonderful Tuesday. Content will be popped out tomorrow on the platform, probably pre-recorded, and Patreon interviews will be dropped on, if not Thursday night, Friday morning. So if you guys are in the Patreon, be looking to that. All information is in the description box below. And thank you guys who have subscribed. I hope you guys stay with us and continue to enjoy the platform. I'm happy to have you all here to continue to grow, honey. And I'm out. Have a wonderful Tuesday. Peace.